Your mic is going to turn green. That's when you know that it's good to go.
Test, mic test.
Welcome to tonight's meeting, everyone. I want to humbly acknowledge the land we live, learn, work, and play is Treaty 8 territory, traditional lands of the Cree and Dene, and unceded territory of the Métis people. For the record, we have Councillor Ball, Councillor Boussier, Councillor Walkwin, and Councillor McGrath joining us via Teams, and just councillors for a reminder to have your cameras on for voting purposes. If anyone attends wish to address council on any of the agenda items, please register to the legislative services desk to my right before that agenda items begins. And you'll have 5 minutes to present, and please remain seated for questions, and please remain on topic. And if it's the same agenda item you're speaking to someone else's, try to have, if you're not repeating what the person before you said, you have new information to give to council, and remain seated afterwards for questions. Before the adopted agenda, does anyone wish to serve a notice of motion? Councillor Dogar, do you have a notice of motion? Councillor Dogar, you have to turn your mic on.
This is your notice of motion, sir. Motion? Your notice of motion. Thank you very much. Mr. Mayor, should I termination of integrity commissioner's contract? Councillor Shafiq Dogar served notice of my intent to bring forward the following motion for council's consideration at the March 25, 2025 council meeting, that the appointment of Ken Warren as the Municipality Integrity Commissioner be rescinded, effective immediately, and that administration be directed to terminate the contract for services with Mr. Warren effective immediately. Should I have to give a rundown for this? Reasons for this?
Next meeting.
Okay. My next motion is appointment of Deputy Mayor. Councillor Shafiq Dogar served notice of my intent to bring forward the following motion for council's consideration at the March 25, 2025 council meeting. That the council appoint one councillor as Deputy Mayor on an annual basis. My next motion is CAO performance evaluation and performance evaluation policy. I, Councillor Shafiq Dogar, serve notice of my intent to bring forward the following motion for council's consideration at the March 25, 2025 council meeting. That council review in closed session the 2024 CAO performance evaluation, and that administration bring forward a CAO performance evaluation policy to support the requirements of Section 205.1 of the Municipal Government Act. My next motion is organizations receiving Community Investment Program grant funding. I, Councillor Shafiq Dogar, serve notice of my intent to bring forward the following motion for council's consideration at the March 25, 2025 council meeting. That council requests the organizations that receive funding through Community Investment Program invite council members to attend board meetings. These were the 6 motions that I had to present for legislation in the next meeting.
Thanks, Councillor Dogar. Do we have any other motions from councillors? Councillor Cardinal?
Thanks, Mayor. Regarding the Mumway Hall and Fort Chipewyan, I, Councillor Kendrick Cardinal, serve notice of my intent to bring forward the following motion for council's consideration at the April 8th, 2025 council meeting. that administration be directed to demolish the old child care building located close to the Momway Community Hall and report to council on the feasibility of future development. That would include the expansion of the Momway Community Hall as part of the 2026 budget planning. Such report to take into consideration community needs, assets, and safety concerns. Thank you. Second motion. I, Councillor Kendra Cardinal, serve a notice of my intent to bring forward the following motion for council's consideration at the April 8th, 2025 council meeting. That administration explore and bring forward options to coincide with consideration of the 2026 capital budget for the potential development of a spray park in Fort Chipewyan. Third motion. I, Councillor Kendra Cardinal, serve notice of my intent to bring forward the following motion for council consideration at the April 8, 2025 council meeting. That administration split the contract for the Winter Road into 2 contracts, from Fort Chipewyan to the Sandhills and from the Sandhills to the south gate of the Fort Chipewyan Winter Road. Fourth motion. I, Councillor Kendra Cardinal, serve notice of my intent to bring forward the following motion for council's consideration at the April 22nd, 2025 council meeting. That administration be directed to demolish the old fire hall located in Gregoire and utilize the property for future development. Number 5, I, Councillor Kendra Cardinal, serve notice of my intent to bring forward the following motion for council's consideration at the April 8th, 2025 council meeting. That administration review the Firebag Winter Road North Side crossing and provide information to council on potential future updates to address safety concerns, including but not limited to signage, grading, etc. on the Fort Chipewyan Winter Road. Right? Thanks. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cardinal. Do we have any other motions? Councillor Dogar?
Can I speak on Ramadan, sir?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for giving me opportunity. We in Canada, we respect all communities, all religions. And one of the good example, this is a holy month of Ramadan in which Muslims fast from morning till evening, don't no eat, nil by mouth. Nil by mouth means nothing loose talk, no abuses, no telling lies, nothing that is against the norms of the decency. It is not, idea is not to keep somebody hungry. Idea is to create. In the end of the day, we have iftari, lunch, dinner, and we get together and meet together. And even, a few days back on Saturday, there was a community lunch dinner in which all non-Muslims, other than the Muslims, were also invited. Community. Mayor was very kind to attend. Councillor Grandison and Councillor Funky were also there. This is how the unity is created, integration, respect for minorities also. You see that picture, I learned to respect minorities in the one of the Christmas I was in back country, and no, the previous one. No, the back country. To start with, which was the first one. Now, this is the Christians of my area. No, it's going ahead. I want the first picture, which was displayed, and I was not attentive that side. And this is the Sikh community, shrine I visited. We respect all the minorities also, that I learned it from Canada. And this is the church, 2021, Christmas I was there, and this is of 2022. 2022, my address will show that I am in that back country. So I learned it from here to respect minorities. And I displayed there, thanks to Canadian culture and minorities. I went to their church to show unity with them and thanks them that it is Canada who taught us these things. This is Sikh, one of the temples. This is again Sikh temple. Next, Sikh temple. That's what, Sikh temple, Hindu temple. This is church, I think. Okay, no, this is what is taught to us by Canada, to respect all minorities, all religions, and I physically displayed it during my break. Apart from this, we do charity also. One of our Muslim prestige jeweler, he is giving charity in millions. Abu Shadi is his name, and his manager Abu Tarban is doing very well. And that's all. If somebody wants to ask any question, he's welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Dogar. Now, can I have someone please make the motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Councilor Grandison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Thanks, Councilor Grandison. Just 1 second. Yeah, one second. And thanks for a second, Councilor Weigel. Call for a vote. Councilor Ball, Councilor McGrath, and Councilor Walkwin, and Councilor Boussier in favor. Thank you. Thanks. That's carried unanimously. You have a question, Councilor Cardinal?
No, just for respecting the facility, I'd like to ask security to remove that guy in the red, because he's giving us the finger there. If you got no respect for council, then no use to being here.
Moving on, consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove any items from consent agenda? Can someone make the motion? Councilor Grandison?
I move that the recommendations contained in item 6.1, 6.2, 6.3, and 6.4 be adopted.
And thanks for the second, Councilor Weigel. Can I call for a vote in favor online? That's Councilor Boussier, Councilor Walkwin, Councilor Ball, Councilor McGrath. Thank you. That's carried unanimous. This evening, the first item is addressed at Two-Spirit Celebration Awareness Day proclamation. Proclamation reads, whereas the Regional Municipality of Buffalo is committed to forging strong relationships with Indigenous communities through better communication, collaborative partnerships, and commitment to truth and reconciliation. And where Two-Spirited Resurgence is part of a healing and decolonizing process and is extremely important for the growth of the community. And whereas an increase in Two-Spirited community visibility improves health outcomes of all community members and contributes to a society in which all individuals are valued and celebrated for their unique identities and contributions. And whereas the Two-Spirited community has advocated for increased awareness for the celebration of the unique ways of being, and whereas the Regional Municipality of Buffalo appreciates the work of the Buffalo Pride in raising awareness, demonstrating the region's values of equity and inclusion, and help building a region to where everyone can enjoy and celebrate who they are in a safe and welcoming environment. Therefore, I proclaim March 20, 2025 as Two-Spirit Celebration and Awareness Day. Now moving to the public hearing for bylaw number 25/006, road closure of an undeveloped laneway within Block 2, Plan 198 AS, and Block 2, Plan 9423124. And before declaring this public hearing open, here's a review of the hearing process. The public hearing will be open followed by an introduction of the items administration and administrative council. We will then move into written submissions and hear verbal submissions from any speakers present, followed by questions from council. To finish, we hear closing statements, then the hearing will be then declared closed. So I hereby declare the public hearing open. I'd like to invite Public Planning Development Services to provide an update and opening statements. Whenever you're ready, Amanda.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Amanda Owens, Director of Planning and Development Services, and with me this evening is Bryn Armstrong, Manager of Land Administration Department. We are here to recommend the closure of an undeveloped and unused laneway in an area bounded by Highway 63 to the west, Morrison Street to the southeast, and McDonald Avenue to the northeast. Bryn will describe the recommendation before you this evening.
Thank you, Amanda.
Councilor Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to excuse myself for pecuniary interest as my business is involved in this.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Weigel.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Bryn.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The land in question dates back to a subdivision plan established in 1913. Today, this strip of land does not function as a laneway and it is not utilized for transportation access to nearby businesses. These businesses rely on Morrison Street and McDonald Avenue. ATCO Gas owns an underground utility within the strip of land and have no concerns with the closure. Further, the municipality has deemed the land as surplus, as it is not needed for municipal purposes. It is worth noting that in 2022, Council approved the sale of the laneway, bylaw number 22-005. However, due to a clerical error, the original bylaw must be repealed and a new one passed. If the bylaw is approved this evening, administration will subdivide the laneway into 3 portions and transfer them to adjacent owners at a nominal rate. This process will facilitate orderly development in the block, addressing the issue of irregularly shaped lots, and de-risk the municipality's liability with respect to the land. It's important to note that the laneway holds negligible value as it is encumbered by a privately owned underground utility, is irregularly shaped, and has no direct access to roadways. This closure and sale align with our goals for downtown revitalization by promoting organized development and addressing long-standing land use issues. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for your time. We are happy to answer questions.
Thanks, Bryn. Does council have any questions for presenters? Councillor Benjoko.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman, and thank you for the presentation. I just need clarification to know if there will be some financial consideration, or is there any financial impact? Is there any benefit, or what's in it for the municipality?
Through the chair, to the question, the land itself it doesn't hold any real value because it's encumbered by privately owned underground utility. There's a gas line that runs underneath it, and as you can see by the map here, that it's basically landlocked. There's businesses all around it, and it doesn't have direct access onto any roads here. The municipality technically owns the land, and by us closing this laneway and transferring it proportionally to the lots that are around there, we're basically de-risking ourselves from a potential liability that we have with this laneway as it exists today.
So closing it means releasing it for public use?
Through the chair, to the question, no. If council decides to close this laneway this evening,
yes.
As you can see, the properties around it, they're all irregularly shaped. By taking this laneway, so it's the red and the blue section, so administration is working on making these lots more regularly shaped, and these would be benefiting 3 different lots that are running alongside this laneway.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Benjoko. Do we have any other questions from council for administration? Councillor Dogar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Madam, it is a fine presentation. Could you please align it with your pen, the lane which you are referring to?
Through the chair, to the question, the color red block and the blue, that's the laneway.
With Highway 63, which is Highway 63?
Through the chair, to the question, Highway 63 is on the left side of the map. So those 3 long yellow lines, that delineates Highway 63.
So this lane is already closed.
It's to the question, it technically does not operate as a laneway. Dating back to 1913, the mapping recognized it as a laneway, and at that time they had assumed that the future use would be for a laneway, but it was never used as it was intended to be used.
So we are doing the documentation update.
It's a paper exercise, essentially.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Dogar. Any other questions for administration? I'm not seeing any. Do we have anyone registered to speak on this?
Through the chair, for the record, we have no written submissions that have been received, and we have no registered verbal submissions.
Okay, is there anyone in the gallery wishing to come forward and speak on this? Any further questions from council for administration? As a reminder, once the public hearing is closed, there'll be no further questions or information gathering can occur. Does the administration have anything else they want to add?
No, thank you.
So I'll hereby declare this hearing closed. As a reminder, members of the public present in the gallery who wish to speak to the agenda item must do so before the start of that item. Coming public hearing, we now have second and third readings of bylaw number 25/006, road closure of an undeveloped laneway within Block 2, Plan 198AS, and Block 2, Plan 9423124 for council's consideration. Can I have someone make the motion for second reading of bylaw number 25/006? Councilor Benjoko? Oops.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I move that bylaw number 25/006, being a road closure of an undeveloped laneway within Block 2, Plan 198AS, and Block 2, Plan 9423-124, be read a second time.
Thanks, Councilor Benjoko, and thanks, Councilor Granison, for the second. Are there any other debate, discussion, or comments from council? I'm not seeing any, so I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Councilor Walkman in favor online, Councilor McGrath, Councilor Bussier. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you, everyone. We now move on to, can someone make the motion for the third reading? Councilor Granison?
I move that bylaw number 25/006 be read a third and final time.
And thanks for a second, Councilor Ball. Any other debate, discussion, or comments from council? Not seeing any, I'll call for a vote. In favor? Councilor Bussier, Councilor McGrath, Councilor Walker online, thank you. And that's carried unanimously again, thank you. Thanks. Next up, we have bylaw number 25/005, Committee's Bylaw Amendment, Municipal Policing Advisory Committee, which is being presented for the second and third reading tonight. I'd like to invite Community Services to come forward to introduce and present the report, please.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Tony Elliott. I'm the Acting Director for Community Services, and presenting with me today is Nicole Chouinard, Manager of RCMP Support Services. The Ministry of Public Safety and Emergency Services brought forward the Police Amendment Act in December 2022, marking the first major reform to the Police Act in 34 years. The legislation is intended to increase police transparency and enhance public trust to help build safer communities. Police governance is one of the key changes for all communities policed by the RCMP in Alberta, and through the creation of formal civilian governance bodies, the intent is for these communities to have a role in setting policing priorities and performance goals. I'll now turn it over to Nicole to outline the proposed local committee.
Thank you, and through the chair to Mayor and Council. So some of the keynotes and the changes that we've seen in regards to this Police Amendment Act is the establishment of an independent agency, the Police Review Commission, to manage complaints against the police and conduct disciplinary proceedings. That will be a provincial board. Mandate the creation of the civilian governing bodies of communities policed by the RCMP, which is the board we're talking about today. The expanded mandate of the Alberta Serious Incident Response Team, ACERT, to investigate the cases of serious injury or death and serious or sensitive allegations that involve peace officers, i.e. the Alberta Sheriffs and or our community peace officers. This legislation requires police commissions to develop community safety plans and report on the annual progress. This also requires the commissions to create a diversity, equity, and inclusion plan to reflect on the communities that they are serving and better understand their needs. The key legislation that will establish this committee was under Part 3, Section 28, which mandates the communities that are policed by the RCMP establish this committee. Section 3 of the Police Governance Ministerial Regulation establishes the parameters of the policing committee, including the membership, terms of office, and the membership requirements. Section 7 of the Ministerial Regulation also allows for up to 3 additional members to be appointed to this established committee by the province. Administration is proposing the following for the setup of this committee. Voting members, which will be voting members are residents of the regional municipality of Wood Buffalo. The ward representation encompasses all communities located in Wood Buffalo and Fort Chipewyan RCMP detachment boundaries. The primary residence of all committees must be within the Wood Buffalo or Fort Chipewyan RCMP detachment boundaries, and these members who are appointed to the board must meet all requirements subject to the Police Act as per the Police Government's regulation. The rest of the committee complement will be made up of 4 non-voting members, which is 1 councillor member from the urban service area, councillor member from the rural service area, the chief administrative officer or the designate, and the officer in charge of the Wood Buffalo RCMP. The key duties and functions that would be seen committed through this board is set under Section 4 of the Police Government's Regulation, and it will be assisting in the overseeing and the administration of the Municipal Police Service Agreement, conveying the interests and concerns of the public to the officer in charge, supporting the development of the APP, and supporting the development of community safety plans. This committee will also have the ability to assist in the selection of any future OICs, and they will be required to report annually upon request to the minister.
If approved by council tonight, recruitment will commence this week with applications closing on April 13th. Applicants will be presented to council for review at a closed meeting on May 20th. The appointments and first committee meeting dates are to be determined at this time, as the candidates identified by council must receive enhanced reliability security clearance, which is a qualification outlined in the legislation. Once all candidates are cleared for membership, the public appointments can be made by council and then the first meeting scheduled. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Thanks, Tony. Do we have any questions for administration from council? Councillor Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and to the chair. Thank you for the presentation. This question is just straight out of pure ignorance. You had under the two categories for the minorities. What do we consider a religious minority? Is that anything outside of Christianity, or what would we consider here as a minority, a religious minority?
We're just confirming clarity with our counterparts who supported us with the bylaw.
Awesome.
Through the chair to Councillor Weigel. So what happens in those instances when an applicant applies? We go solely based on what they declare. So if they declare they're a religious minority, then we go based on that. We don't actually go to the next level of determining what is religion. We go based on the information that they share with us.
And so, so it could be really any religion then.
Any.
So there's religious minority, the minority part really isn't part of it. It's any.
It's anybody. If they choose to declare that they're a minority based on religion, then we will go based by that information.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Weigel. Councillor Cardinal?
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks for the presentation, ladies. Why is there a religious piece into all of this?
It's trying to be able for us to be broad and capture everyone that feels that they may not have a voice. So if they feel based on any one of those that we've indicated, any one of those sectors, if they choose to come forward and say they feel they're an underrepresented minority, then we will receive the application based on that information that they share.
Thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Cardinal. Do we have any other questions for administration? Councillor Benjoko?
Thanks, Mayor Bowman. Thank you for the presentation. I'm wondering how this committee will be able to assist the selection of the officer in charge.
Through the chair to Councillor Banjoko. So in regards to assisting the officer in charge, that will be, I guess, decided through the decision of council, because council and the CIO currently makes that decision. And this way they'll be able to have public input as well before the selection is completed.
Okay,
through this committee.
A COP member?
Yeah, so the officer in charge is currently Chief Superintendent Mark Hancock. So he is currently our officer in charge. He does send his regrets. He had intended to be here tonight, but he is under the weather. So when he chooses to leave, then there is a replacement that would come in, which is deemed the officer in charge. And rank doesn't matter. It's not the distinguishing factor, but mayor and council and the CAO do make that decision and finalize who is put in charge of the detachment here.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Benjoko. Do you have any other questions for administration? Councillor Cardinal?
How is the scoring system? Is it like you got to qualify certain areas? Is that the impression I'm getting from the report that was shared with us? To sit on the committee? No.
Sorry, Councillor Cardinal, can you repeat that question?
Am I wrong to say that there's a scoring system to sit on the committee from the residents?
No, so through the chair to Councillor Cardinal, sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Sonia Suter, Manager with Legislative Services. No, we don't have a scorecard. We don't do any scoring when we bring forward. When the applications are received, they're reviewed by administration to confirm that we have all of the necessary information. All of the applications, regardless whether they're complete or incomplete, are presented to council. Council makes the selections based on that, and then we take that information away and carry forward with the appointments. There's no scoring that's used to determine.
Why the change from the ministry? I kind of lost for why the change for the committee.
Sorry, which change is that, Councillor Cardinal?
Well, why all of a sudden a committee?
So this has actually been mandated through provincial legislation. So we are being mandated by the Alberta government to establish this committee so that there can be better oversight and transparency for all RCMP supporting communities.
Perfect, thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Cardinal. Do you have any other questions for administration? I'm not seeing any, so thank you. Do we have any delegates for this item?
We have no registered delegates for this item, Mr. Mayor.
Can I make the motion for the second reading? Councillor Grandison?
I move that bylaw number 25/005 be an amendment to the committee's bylaw 17/024 to add the Municipal Policing Advisory Committee be read a second time.
Thanks, Councillor Grandison. Thanks for the second, Councillor Ball. Does council have any debate, discussion, or comments? I'll call for a vote. So in favor online, Councillor Ball in favor, Councillor McGrath in favor, Councillor Walken in favor. Thank you. That's carried unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Can I make the motion for the third reading? Councillor Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that bylaw number 25/005 be read for a third and final time.
Thanks, Councillor Weigel. Thanks for the second, Councillor Grandison. Any other debate, discussion, or comments from council? Not seeing any. I'd just like to say, this is kind of a refreshing thing to come from the government of Alberta, giving the residents themselves their say in how the policing in the community goes and having their voice heard. And I think that's a big step for our provincial government, and I think I'd be happy to support this. Councillor Benjogo?
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I just want to also support this idea, being a person of color and someone of the minority group, and sometimes it's almost like one is not being heard, and I think this will be a good opportunity for the different groups to come together, and especially for the minority group to be heard in a forum like this. I also hope that there will be a way to rotate the participation so that it won't be blacks all the time or religious people all the time or women or youth. And I believe this will be a good thing for the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Benjogo. That I'll call for a vote. Online in favor? Thank you, Councillor Boussier in favor, Councillor McGrath in favor, and Councillor Walker in favor. Thank you. And Councillor Ball's in favor. Thanks, Councillor Ball. And that's carried unanimously. Thanks, everyone. Next, we have a report on Plan Development Services Division Process Review Update 2025. I'd like to invite Plan Development Services to introduce the report, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Amanda Owens, Director of Planning and Development Services, and with me this evening is Koju Efu, Manager of Customer Experience and Analytics. We are here this evening to present an update on our division's process review project. Planning and Development Services is a public-facing division that interacts with thousands of people yearly. In alignment with Council's 2022-2025 strategic plan, Planning and Development Services completed a rigorous process review of its departmental services to improve customer service, reduce red tape, better facilitate property improvement, investment, and responsible growth, and reduce barriers to development. Planning and Development Services is made up of 5 departments. Collectively, these departments ensure development occurs in a safe, responsible, and organized manner to protect the public interest. Our departments include development planning, development engineering, safety codes, land administration, and customer experience and analytics. We know our regulatory function has an impact on business investment and economic growth in our region. And to support business attraction and growth, Planning and Development Services has been taking progressive steps to enhance the customer service it provides to all stakeholders. We've streamlined services, decreased confusion, and have provided more clarity. We also work closely with council committees such as the Wood Buffalo Pro-Business Advisory Committee, the Wood Buffalo Development Advisory Committee, and the Wood Buffalo Downtown Revitalization Committee. We also work closely with many stakeholder groups within the region. Many conversations about what we value as a division have been taking place with staff, and from these discussions, our team has committed to common sense, simplicity, consistency, information sharing, taking initiative, learning, and teamwork. These are the values we continuously rely on to implement the recommendations of the process review, and more importantly, how we show up to work and serve the community. From the process review, 92 recommendations and over 300 actions were identified for implementation over a 3-year period. While there's still a ton of work to do and changes to be made, we're very proud of the progress that has happened over the last couple of years. Collectively, our division has taken improved customer service to heart, and we are trying to embed that mindset in everything that we do as a division. Kojo will be taking it further to present the implementation progress in more detail.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Of the 92 recommendations identified in the process review, 46% have been completely implemented, 44% are actively being worked on, and 10% have yet to start. Some of the recommendations are quick wins, while others, especially those related to IT systems or regulations, are much more difficult and will take longer to action. An internal working group consisting of members of each department and the director's office was established to keep the implementation at the top of mind, structured, and accountable. This group continues to meet regularly to review each department's progress, identify and address challenges, learn from our mistakes, coordinate efforts, discuss and action new ideas beyond the 92 recommendations. To date, we have made some notable progress and have been hearing positive feedback. A few examples include creating a divisional business plan aligned with continued improvement, making all permits application electronically fillable. Work is underway to upgrade our e-permitting system to make it easier and more user-friendly, digitizing property files to make access easier, working with our communication department to update information online to make it easier for residents and stakeholders to find information on our services, creating a single point of contact to process and handle complex and important development permits. Achieving the objectives of the process review is broader than the 92 recommendation. It requires continuously looking inward to find other ways to improve our business process and enhance customer service. It involves a mindset that must be embedded in how we work, consistent staff engagement, capturing new ideas, highlighting lessons learned, improving internal communication, and aligning divisional goals, values, and vision. We are making progress, and we have a team dedicated of staff members who embody this mindset daily. As we move through implementation, monitoring and reporting on progress is essential. What gets measured gets done. Keeping staff, stakeholders, and council and the public updated keeps us accountable too. Planning and Development Services remains committed to continuing the conversation it has started. We are committed to supporting economic activity, providing exceptional customer service, and streamlining steps and processes for our residents and businesses. We recognize process improvement is not a single event and requires continued effort. Criticism we hear are often opportunities for us to do better and understand what the issues are, what may be causing them, and how we can do better. Continuous improvement is key to building and maintaining strong relationship with all who interact with planning and development services. For this purpose, we launched a customer satisfaction survey last year to continue seek input, helping us to make further refinement to our processes and services. To date, more than 70% of the survey respondents indicate that they are satisfied with our service and find our staff helpful. These results suggest progress is happening and continuous improvement is ongoing. In closing, I'd like to thank the community, stakeholders, and council for your support in implementing this process review. This concludes our presentation.
Thank you. Excellent presentation and excellent progress. I mean, in the last year, just going to the amount of completed items that were on that recommendation is excellent. And I've heard a lot of good things in the community about their people's experiences with planning and development in the last while. Do we have any other questions from council? I'm not seeing any. Do we have any other delegates to this item?
We have no delegates for this item, Mr. Mayor.
Can I have someone make the motion? Councillor Grandison.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the Planning and Development Service Division Progress Review Update be accepted as information.
Thank you, Councillor Grandison. Thank you, Councillor Weigel, for the second. Any other discussion, debate, or comments from council? Councillor Banjoko.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Thank you for the presentation and the tons of work that has been done. Is it possible to share with us how you process negative feedback from those who you serve?
Through the chair to the question, if we could, just to clarify the question, is it possible for planning and development to share negative feedback?
No, how you handle negative feedback from residents, from your clients, your
I see.
customers.
Thank you. So we get it. We get feedback in many different forms. So we sometimes get feedback at front counter verbally. Sometimes it's coming in through Pulse. Sometimes it's coming through a customer survey. Sometimes it's coming in through counselors if we've got constituents who are having issues. Sometimes we're hearing it just as residents, part of the community, out and about talking to businesses. What we've been trying to do is when issues come across our desk, we try to understand what the crux of the issue is and look at the actual issue that's creating the problem. We're always looking to hopefully solve the issue, but alongside solving the issue, we're trying to figure out what started it in the first place and kind of work backwards from there. And from that standpoint, that's where we can kind of shift as a division and start understanding where we can do things better. So we've gotten out of this mindset of react. We obviously do still react to quite a lot of items that come our way, but we're also in the mindset of proactively trying to avoid some of these problems from repeating themselves.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Joko. Any other questions, comments, or debate points from council? Councilor Cardinal?
Thanks, Mayor. Amanda, is there any way that I can get an explanation on how the difference, a scenario on each thing, why the change for that particular policy? Why the change? I just kind of want an example, just so maybe.
Through the chair to the question, are you able to repeat it?
Before the policy, what was the barrier? Now, without the barrier, what's the example? Is what I'm getting at for the change. It's kind of what I'm asking.
If I'm understanding correctly, like from before we did the process review, what's different between now and then? Yep. Okay. A lot of what we see the bulk of the issues being is communication. So depending on who you're speaking to and whichever division it is, sometimes when things are being communicated, whether it's verbally or written, it's not clear. And when you're dealing with different personalities and different professions and just even the applicants, depending on the conversation, sometimes things get lost in conversation. We have to do a better job at creating more clarity online. We have made a lot of headway on it, but there's still a ton more. Like we come across stuff on our website that is outdated still, after even going through a lot of the bulk of pushing forward with the changes. The things that we've seen before or during the process review, a lot of them did come down to communication. There's also, in some cases, in training, like we have regulations that guide us as a division. So for example, our building code, the safety building code, our land use bylaw, we have to go by those regulations. However, sometimes we do things because we've always done it that way. And so making sure that we understand, do we have to do it this way, or are we doing it because it's out of training, or if it's out of habit, or if it's out of someone's preference to process something in that manner? So we've been doing we've been paying more attention to making sure that we're following the process as it's outlined. In terms of proactive communication, we're getting better at calling the businesses that we're dealing with, or potential investors, or even residents, versus just always emailing. Emailing is important, but sometimes picking up the phone and explaining something and replying back in an email to summarize what you said. Consistency, and even when we are sending inspectors to sites, if we're sending 3 different inspectors to one address and that person's getting 3 different opinions, that creates problems for the applicant or the resident or the business. So we've been trying to get into, and we've been doing a good job of sending the same inspector consistently if we can. There's a lot of moving pieces that fall within planning and development, and we're just constantly trying to keep everything running smoothly, but it's through all the areas that create problems or that we're hearing of. That's those are the areas that we start focusing on and start cleaning up for improvement. We're aware that there's still a lot to clean up, but we have done quite a bit in the last little bit.
Most of the feedback comes from the community or the staff.
The feedback that we receive mainly is coming from community, from businesses. Sometimes they're not located here. Sometimes they could be applicants out of town, out of province, out of country. And if concerns are coming across our desk, or if we see areas that they're getting confused on, then we need to ask ourselves, why are they getting confused or hung up on this process? And that's when we start having the conversation around, maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe the process doesn't make sense, for example.
We'll see, I guess. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, Councilor Cardinal. Any other comments, debate points, or questions from council? I'm not seeing any, so I'll call for a vote. In favor online, Councilor Ball, Councilor Boussier, Councilor Walkwin, Councilor McGrath, thank you. That's carried unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Next, we have a report on special events on municipal land policy, FEM 130. I'd like to invite Planning Development to remain seated and be joined by Janelle. Thanks, Janelle.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Amanda Owens, Director of Planning and Development Services, and with me this evening is Kojo Efu, Manager of Customer Experience and Analytics, and Janelle Fleury, Manager of Community Partnership and Initiatives with Community Services Division. We are here to present the update to the special event on municipal land policy. I will turn it over to Kojo.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Each year, approximately 150 special events takes place on municipal land. To ensure responsible use and coordination, a special event permit is required. To facilitate this, the special event on municipal land policy provide essential guidance to ensure a standardized and consistent approach to approval for both event planners and administration. Recognizing the evolving need of this event, this policy has been revised to improve clarity, ensure consistency, and ensure the responsible use of municipal assets. This update clearly defines the responsibilities of both the municipality and event organizer, including liability for any damages caused by the organizers, third party, or attendees. While many events have minimal impact on municipal assets, others may cause significant wear and tear, leading to costly repairs. To address this, the revised policy requires security deposit for events deemed to have a high risk of property damage. This deposit will help cover potential repair costs and protect municipal parks and public spaces. If there are no damages, the security deposit will be fully returned. This policy will be implemented through a new administrative procedure that outlines specific steps, including a joint satisfaction before and after events. Conditions will be documented through dated photographs and detailed checklists to ensure compliance with the policy. The policy also requires a responsibility agreement between the event organizers and the municipality, outlining the event organizer's obligation from setup to cleanup, ensuring adherence to all conditions. By formalizing these conditions in writing, the municipality ensures that organizers remain accountable for compliance and any damages. Special event plays a key role in our region and in the quality of life for our residents. The updated policy ensures that parks and public spaces remain vibrant, accessible, and well maintained to support activities in our communities. To host an event on municipal land, you may apply online or at the Planning and Development Services front counter. Going forward, the Community Services team will coordinate special event approval. In closing, administration is seeking council support in approving the updated special event on municipal land policy. This concludes our presentation.
Thank you, Kojo. Thanks for the presentation, everyone. Just a quick question myself. How will you deem an event to be a high risk for damage to municipal property?
Through the chair, we As part of the administrative procedure that will follow this policy, we are putting together a detailed risk matrix that goes from the number of attendants, any historical information that we have on the event, and if there are likely to be big setups on the municipal property. So we're putting together a detailed matrix that will determine what the risk levels are.
Okay, and does this policy now make it more, I guess, resident-friendly to hold events? I know we have a lot of community events in the community, and this comes up quite a bit about trying to hold an event and what's required, and a little bit of confusion sometimes when they're applying, because the residents usually call me when that comes up. So does this make it that policy like easier for the customer to apply?
Through the chair, yes, this policy clarifies things and it will standardize a lot of the process. The current policy, there are a few things that in there that makes it difficult for us sometimes to know whether we could demand an event organizers to put down a damage deposit or not, and that can end up in a lengthy approval process because it will involve having conversation with several other departments, sometimes negotiating with them. But making sure that the policy clearly outlines what needs to be done will make it easier for everyone involved.
Excellent. Thank you, Kojo. And question from council, Councillor Bussier.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bowman. Through the chair to the presenters, I guess just follow on Mayor Bowman's question. How do you determine the amount of the deposit that's required?
Through the chair to Councillor Bussier, the amount that would the damage deposit are going to vary also based on the risk matrix that we're putting together, and there's going to be different scales attached to that risk matrix. So anything that is really almost no risk to zero risk, or also if the previous event organizers deems to be a very good event organizer and is respecting all the conditions of the special event permit, this may result in zero security deposit. But anything from that could vary between $500 all the way to a maximum of $10,000. The risk matrix will determine what the amount would be based on the estimated repairs that would be needed if damage does occur. And we've been working with our colleagues in parks to understand what those damages could be and what would be the amount needed to repair those damages. And based on that, that's what we're setting the amount for.
So there is a ceiling of $10,000 for any event?
Through the chair, yes, we've looked at how to ensure that we don't create a situation that would make it very difficult for anyone to hold event, and therefore although we know that sometimes damages to parks may be in excess of $10,000, but ensuring that event can still happen in the community, we put a max to $10,000. Any damages that goes beyond that, then we'll have to resort to other avenues to sort of address the cost of that. But we put it at a maximum of $10,000, and we're hoping that we don't have a lot of events that will reach that maximum.
Okay, having said that, without naming any events, do we have a history of some events that have cost the taxpayers money? And do we know what that number is?
Through the chair, yes, we do have a list of past events dating all the way back to 2014. And when we did a historical review of the analysis, there are about a handful that sort of are within that high risk level. And one event in particular caused damages in excess, estimated excess of $10,000.
Okay, and again, the only opportunity, I guess, to recover that is if the organizer is not willing to come forward, is just through legal action, and would we do that?
Through the chair, you're correct. The only other avenue, if we don't go through the damage deposit route, is through legal action, and those will be a bit more costly in terms of times and other resources to the municipality. But yes, those will be the only avenues that would have.
Okay, I think that's about it. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Bussier. Councillor Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the chair. Thank you for your questions. Councillor Bussier, that was actually my very first one. I do believe that event that cost over $10,000 was Ribfest. The risk matrix, is that going to be online? Is that something like the public can see what the risk matrix looks like, or is it something internal?
Through the chair, at this time, the risk matrix is internal, but it will become part of the application package that we provide to event organizers, so that they will know exactly what the risk matrix is.
So they will see the risk matrix when they apply?
Yes. Through the chair, yes.
Awesome. Under, where is it here? Priority, so 3.3.6. Administration will prioritize the allocation of municipal lands for special events as follows. And so I love the priority list. I think it's great. How do you deem the priority? Obviously, events don't usually get submitted at the same time. So if I submit one January 1st and then somebody who's in a higher priority submits it on March 1st and the event's happening in September, how do you deem the priority if you've already allocated the permit?
Through the chair, the priority list only kicks in if events are happening on the exact same day, and therefore we will look at this priority to determine who gets the site. But if the dates of the event are not the same day, then it's on first come, first served basis.
Sure. So let's say I'm holding an event on September 1st, and the mayor is holding an event, and he is a special event. So he's priority 1, I'm priority 6, and he wants to hold an event on September 1st. I've already applied and got my permit for September 1st. I guess the only time this would actually happen, and maybe this is in the policy just for the sheer fact that if 2 applications come in on the exact same day at the exact same time looking for the exact same thing, is that why this policy is there? Or is there lenience or a time frame or?
Through the chair, that's the reason why this policy is there, but also our standard practice has been to try to get the 2 event organizers to sort of collaborate with each other, negotiate, and if one is willing to move their date or not. But if not, then we'll have to go with the priority list.
Right, but that's only if they apply at the same time. So if I applied and got my permit, I would keep that date no matter the priority that comes in after that.
Through the chair, once you've been approved or you've been booked for a date, we don't change it.
Okay. Last, and it's not on here, so if this is not relevant to this conversation, let me know. With events, in one of the clauses in there, it says that the municipality has the ability to cancel up and into the event date due to inclement weather. With that, I guess, what is considered inclement weather here? Have we looked at options of where to move it? And then how fast would you give back one of those deposits? If they had to put a deposit down for that land, how fast would we be able to return that, understanding that if they have to move and use money to move an event, they would need access to those funds to be able to put a deposit down somewhere else?
Through the chair, we've been working with our finance department, and we have the understanding that the moment that the proper paperwork it's put in, the return of the refunds is anywhere between 7 to 30 days. We believe that we can return the money as little as within 7 days.
Okay. I guess I'll give you a scenario. Say I'm holding a music event at SAP, so at the park up there on May 5th. All of a sudden, or May 13th. And May 13th, all of a sudden it comes along and it's raining, and the municipality deems that the ground will get wrecked and there will be problems. So they're canceling the event the morning of May 13th. I need to pivot. Do you hold the deposit? Does the city give us any other options to move into an indoor venue, covering costs, helping us with moving, or is it just it's shut down and we have to incur all the cancellation costs?
Through the chair, at this time, it's simply just canceling the event, but we can work with the applicant and update aspect of this policy through the procedure to take into consideration the scenario that you put in together.
Okay. Is that a different meeting than that? Like, that's a whole different situation than what we're talking about tonight?
Through the chair, yes, it is.
Okay. I'll bring it up at a different time. Yes?
Through the chair, could you repeat the question?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that this is not the conversation for tonight to continue down this path.
Through the chair to the question, correct. Tonight is about the policy, but there's also a procedure, administrative procedure, which we create in conjunction with the policy, and we're able to address specifics such as
Awesome.
that.
So this is not part of the this is not part of the procedure. This is part of the policy.
It would be, what your concern could be addressed through procedure.
Perfect. Okay.
And if there are items that we feel require policy change, then we would come back to council and have it amended.
Okay, but you can change procedure internally.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the education.
Thanks, Councillor Weigel. Councillor Dogar?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the nice presentation. Well prepared you people are. I just want to ask you about the estimate repair. Normally, you know, there are guests and children also, something can damage. Do you have some internal system where you repair it, and, you know, if you do the open market rates, that is quite expensive to the residents.
Through the chair, could you repeat the question, Councilor Dogar? I'm not
My
sure I
question is, there is, the breakages are quite common. Some children are there, some elders are there. In case of any damages, the estimate that you do it, that is of market rates, that is quite expensive. Do you have some handy people or some small organization who could repair this so that residents get least penalty?
Through the chair, the administrative procedure that we're putting together will first give the opportunity to the event organizer to remediate any damages that happens, and that remediation has to be in satisfaction to our parks colleagues. Once that is done, then the refund is done automatically. But if the event organizers is not able to or not willing to remediate any damages, then that's when the municipality steps in, and we will do the repair at the estimated cost, and then return whatever is left of the damage deposit, or if the repair consumed the entire damage deposit, then it's consumed it.
Thank you. Your reply is very elaborate and very swift one. But my question is, my recommendation is that you should have some handy organization, maybe one man, two men, who could repair the minor faults so that the penalty is not given to the resident. You are already making some money from the money they have paid you. And do you go with me or not that residents should get relief and there should be minimum penalty to them?
Through the chair to Councillor Dogar, our procedures in terms of special event alleviate a lot of the cost already to the resident. We don't, for example, our colleagues at the parks, after special event on municipal land, they go around to clean up the parks, address some minimal issues. When it comes to those, no cost to the resident at all. But we're talking about anything that is beyond that will require substantial budget allocation to fix. Those are the ones that it doesn't matter what sort of handyman you have, but there's some special cost.
Okay, thank you. The other is the RRC and the Mac Island. Are they included in your land's income or not?
Through the chair, the RC is not included in this. These are purely parks and other municipal land.
Okay, fine. The community centers which is within the parks, like one is in Timberley on Millennium Gate, that is your property? That is your income?
He's talking about Synchro Athletic Park, I think.
Through the chair, yes, that location is the municipal asset, but I don't think that asset is accessible to the public to use as a special event site, but the location is used mostly for sport.
There is a small hall also that is rented and very subsidized rate, good rates. That is I'm asking.
Through the chair to the question, the policy before us this evening is for municipal land only. It's for the actual land portion. We're not.
Is that not municipal owned?
We're not talking about facilities.
Okay. The next is the priority. You have said the priority of the elected people should be the last. First priority should be of the residents, and the other priorities come later. This is my recommendation. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councilor Dogar. Councilor Benjoko.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Thank you again. We were talking about the damages and the maximum penalty. I was also thinking about insurance. I believe I've been involved in one or two events where we were made to purchase insurance. Can the insurance kick in, or you would not want to wait for that? What's the role of insurance in possible damages?
Through the chair to Councilor Banjiko, the insurances that we require for special events are for folks attending the event. In case anything happens while folks are attending the events, those insurance don't cover any damages to municipal property. So we will not be able to use the insurance route to recuperate any cost. And if we were to make a special event organizers to take insurance. The process of recuperate the cost through insurance could be quite lengthy, and will also consume quite a bit of municipal resources in trying to recuperate costs. So in our process of reviewing and updating this policy, we looked at all opportunities, and we felt that the security deposit one is likely the easiest route.
Okay. So the insurance that is purchased by organizers covers the individuals and not, for instance, the field or the open space that they might use.
Through the chair, we will not be able to use that insurance to recover any costs related to damages, because the insurance is completely for something else.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Benjoko. Councilor Grandison?
I think,
oh, sorry.
I think you have.
Through the chair to the question, I was just going to add something to that. To Kojo's point, if we were to require event organizers to get a separate policy for insurance to cover the land issues like he was discussing, not only is it difficult for us to go after that type of a settlement, it also would cost the event organizer money, and it's a lost cost. Whereas with the damage deposit, they get that money back if there's no damage. So it works to the benefit of the organizers and them recuperating their cost.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Samuel.
Thanks, Councilor Benjoko. Councilor Grandison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through the chair. A simple but perhaps complex question. If I'm applying for a special event permit to do event ABC, and I cause more than $10,000 damage, I don't get my deposit back, etc., I would be on the list for not being very favorable to get my permit next year, correct? So now, Councillor Stu here is going to run event XYZ next year, but we're going to put the permit in his name. Same event, same problem. Have we fixed that?
Through the chair, yes. We are now looking at the event organizers. We're looking at the event. So as long as the event causes the damage, then that history will be part of the risk assessment.
So it stays with the event. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Grandison. Councilor Dogar?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Once again, what is the income you have it? You know, there is a change of policy, you said, what I could say. What was the income before that? After this policy, there would be some change in income or not?
Through the chair, to Councillor Dogar, are you referring to permit fees, the special event permit fees?
No, the land use and the revenue you are getting something. How much is the value of that in terms of dollars?
Right through the chair. Right now, our special event permit fees are $25 for a simple event and $100 for a for-profit event. Out of about 150 events a year, we multiply that by 25. I think we are not making any substantial amount of money on that. The goal of the special event permit is not for us to make any money, it's simply for us to better manage municipal assets.
Oh, thank you. And what is the change you are making in policy?
Through the chair to Councillor Dogar, one of the main changes that we're making in this policy is asking council to give us the authority to ask for damage deposit in order to ensure that if any damages happens to municipal parks or municipal land, it can be recovered as quickly as possible and in good condition to enable anybody else to be able to hold event at that location. In the past, we've had situations in which an event organizer causes damage to the location, and then there's another event that needs to go to the same location, but it wasn't repaired on time. Municipality has to step in to try to repair it. It became a cost that we had to internalize. So the policy will enable us now to better manage situations like that.
Good, thank you. Are you getting sufficient funds to maintain all these assets?
Through the chair, could you repeat the question, Councillor?
Are you having or being allotted sufficient funds to maintain these properties?
Through the chair to the question, we're talking about a policy this evening, not the maintenance and operation of parks.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. It's a policy, not about what revenue we're getting.
Thanks, Councillor Grandison.
Okay, fine.
That's upheld.
If you, it's okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor
Got the
Dogar.
point, Grandson.
Councillor Ball?
Thank you, through the chair. I just want to rehash Councillor Grandison's question because I'm a bit confused. I can appreciate how if he was running an event that he would run it right into the ground. and of course, create some history with that event. But if Councillor Weigel came in to run it the next year, why are we penalizing Councillor Weigel for what Councillor Grandison did the year before? And I can appreciate we need to have some history, but not everybody makes the same mistakes.
Through the chair to Councillor Ball, I understand, but if we have to look at the event organizers are not necessarily at fault for whatever may have happened, but it's the event that caused the damage. It's the attendance to the event that created the situation that got created. And therefore, taking that into consideration and looking at the risk matrix, the risk matrix is going to consider what's going to happen at this event again. How many attendees are going to be at the event? Where is it going to happen? Is the event likely to include the exact same thing that happens in the past for the same event? If yes, then the risk remains the same regardless if it's a different person running the event.
Well, I disagree with you, because if you run into issues in year one, usually year two, you put forward some sort of plan to remedy those issues that came forward. Otherwise, it's just plain poor planning. So, I get that there's risk. Trust me, I worked at the Parks Department a long time. I've seen a lot of damaged grounds, but I struggle with, basically penalizing the ones that come after, right? And I know you have to do something, but is it fair to the next guy who's trying to do a better job than the one that came before them? I struggle with that.
Through the chair to Councillor Ball, as part of the review process and for the second event, if someone else is planning the event, as part of the review process, there's going to be an opportunity to meet with the event organizers and take a look at what sort of risk mitigation plan they have in place, what they have learned from the previous event. And if our colleagues in the park department are satisfied, and if everybody else in the process is satisfied that there's a proper risk mitigation in place, it could result in no security deposit at all. But if we're not satisfied, if the risk seems to be the exact same risk, then the security deposit will be implemented.
No, and I appreciate the security deposit. What I heard was the risk stays with, or the history stays with the event, not the person hosting the event. And I understand that, but we got to give people a chance to do better. And if they're going to bring forward proposals that mitigate the risk or mitigate the damage, then I can't see how we would put them away or charge them more or whatever it would be. And ultimately, we want the events to go on. And I just wanted to voice that. That's all.
Thanks, Councillor Ball. Councillor Boussier?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Through the chair. Can an organization or an individual book an event for the next decade, or do you have to apply every year?
Through the chair, every event has to apply every year. We don't have any process in place where an event can be booked many years ahead of time, because we're trying to make sure that we go through the first come, first served basis. We're trying to be as fair as possible, so we don't have a process by which an event can sort of hold a place in perpetuity, not giving anybody else the opportunity to use the site.
Okay, so what happens if we've had an annual event for a while and the person that's supposed to put the permit in forgets, and you end up with conflicting applications? Like the first come, first serve, to me, that wouldn't work in this situation. Like, do you honor the applicant that has been there for 9 or 10? Let's just use, I don't know, let's use a ball tournament or Blueberry Festival. Let's say someone wants to host it, it's been hosting it forever, and he or she forgets, and then all of a sudden I come in wanting to host an event at that particular location. You just toast the organization that has some history with the RM and the organization?
Through the chair to Councillor Boussier, as part of our process at the beginning of the year is to reach out to organization and to let them know that they need to start the process of putting their special event application in if they're interested in doing one, especially those that have been doing it regularly. There are few events in town that we do reach out to and let them know that they need to start preparing their application. So if an organization has been conducting a special event almost 10 years, which means every year they'll be doing it at the same location, then they would be encouraged to put in the application as quickly as possible to avoid any other sites taking it over. But other than that, right now, as part of our procedure, we don't have a way of not allowing the priority process.
Okay, so basically we're first come, first serve.
Through the chair, yes.
Okay.
Through the chair to the question, if I could add to that, as you both just said, it is first come, first serve. And as Kojo explained, there is a relationship piece of this whole special event hosting. And that's also why Janelle is here today, because we recognize that there's a lot of relationships that are already pre-existing in the municipality where we have certain event organizers that do host specific events on specific locations on specific dates. And as part of being a part of a community, we do take a lot of pride and time in administering these special events to make sure that they're coordinating, that they're working, and that we're helping to support the events happening versus not supporting them. But at the end of the day, it is first come, first serve. But like Kojo suggested, there's conversations that happen leading up to that hopefully we don't see those type of conflicts.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Amanda, because there probably are some long-standing users that have committed to events over the last few years, and I'd hate to see them lose out because maybe one of the organizations retired or moved on, and someone at City maybe retired or moved on, and that phone call, that reminder doesn't happen, then I'm able to slip in there with a totally different event, and then you've got, that issue on your hands. So I appreciate it, and I do believe you guys do a very good job at trying to follow up for events like this, and just I hate to see something slip through the cracks when it didn't have to.
Thanks, Councilor Boussier. Councilor Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to piggyback on Councilor Boussier's comment, when we're applying for an event every year, I'm assuming the cutoff obviously starts on January 1st. If you're running an event, like say first 2 weeks of January, like where does that cutoff start for something like that, and where would you do that?
Through the chair, if you have an event that has to happen the first week of January, we would already be in conversation with you by as far back as November, because you need to put your application in case the application needs to be circulated to all the department, depends on what the event is going to be. So we would almost approve your event by the time that you need that event to be in place. Especially if the event is early January, you'll have the approval by late December for sure.
Okay, so if I wanted to apply for an event next January, I would just basically put in a point of interest with the municipality saying, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. And then you guys will contact and work on it that way versus like the full application.
Through the chair, as part of our administrative procedure and our standard operating procedure, we recommend to any event organizers, especially if they think that the event is complex, that is going to require buildings and many other things, to apply for the special event permit at least 90 days ahead of time to give us enough time to do the proper work, circulate it to other departments, do what needs to be done. So if you have an event happening in January, then we recommend that you count 90 days from that January 2nd to put in your permit.
Okay.
Thanks, Councilor Weigel. Councilor Cardinal. Here.
Thanks, Mayor. I got a question about the rural communities. How much engagement is done with this, or is it just set straight across the whole board? Because I know that we don't have the facilities that the RM has in the urban area. And how does that? Do they still use the same format for rural? And if so, what are the barriers that you've encountered from the rural communities?
Through the chair to Councillor Ball, in terms of special event on municipal land, we haven't historically looking at the historical data. We haven't. Sorry, to Councillor Cardinal. I'm sorry. We haven't encountered any, looking at the historical data, we haven't encountered any challenges in terms of damages or issues to municipal land in the rural areas. Most of the issues that we've encountered has to do with events happening within the urban service area. So we don't anticipate that the damage deposit issue would apply in the rural area, although we have to look at any event in terms of the size, in terms of what is intended to be done in that event.
How many rental places we could utilize as a resident and apply to use on the policy in the urban area?
Through the chair to Councillor Cardinal, any land that is municipal land or parks or public open space can be, this policy applies to.
No, I know that. I just mean like how many rental places, how many places do we have that could be rented in the urban area is what I'm asking. Yeah, no, land.
Through the chair, buildings or facilities are not part of this policy, but in terms of land, it's any parks. I don't have the number right on top of my head.
That's fine. I thought maybe you'd have a rough number. I guess my last question would be, how do you be favored in the process?
Through the chair, could you repeat that question?
How are you favored in the process?
How is administration favored in the process?
How are the residents favored in the process?
Through the chair, residents, when we looked at this, we want to make sure that residents are not penalized at all in the process, but as an event organizer, as long as they're following the rules, and most events follow the rules, out of the average 150 events per year, I could say about maybe 5 to 10 are the ones that are likely to be in a situations where the security deposit would be involved. But for resident attending the event or wanting to hold special small events on municipal lands, I don't see any impact of this policy on them.
I guess last one would be, do we have any agreements with anybody for year to year usage?
Through the chair to Councillor Cardinal, no, we do not. We book the location for special event on first come, first serve basis every year.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Cardinal. Any questions from council? I'm not seeing any. Do we have any delegates to this item?
No, Mr. Mayor, we have no delegates. Thank you.
Can I have someone make the motion, please? Councillor Grandison?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that the special events on municipal land policy FEM-130 dated March 11th, 2025 as outlined in attachment 1 be approved.
Thanks, Councillor Grandison. Thanks for the second, Councillor Benjoko. Any debate, discussion, or comments from council? Not seeing it, I'll call for a vote. In favor online? Thank you, Councillor Walkwin, Councillor McGrath, Councillor Boussier, and Councillor Ball. And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. With that, we'll take a 10-minute break before we move into the next. So everyone have a quick minute to stretch your legs. Welcome back, everyone. We're resuming at item 8.1. Moving to item 8.1, Councilor's motions. I'll ask Councilor McGrath to read your motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a second here to clear up. Whereas an application has been received to redesignate Lot 1, Block 1, Plan 232, 144, 7880 Draper Road to a direct control district, that administration accept the direct control district application draft, applicable land use bylaw amendment, scheduled for the first reading, which we done, the amendment for the next available council meeting, which is this evening, that upon reviewing first reading, administration schedule and provide notice of a public hearing in accordance with the requirements of the Municipal Government Act, which we did. Upon receiving second and third reading, administration resolved the draft Draper area structure plan, draft land use bylaw, recognize the new land designation of for 7880 Draper Road.
Thank you, Councilor McGrath. Do we have a seconder for that motion? And I'm not seeing a second. So we'll move on to the next agenda item. Yeah, just to clarify, without a second, that motion will just die on the floor there.
Go back to Mr. Mayor. You said there wasn't a second for the motion?
No, and you won't be able to speak to the motion until there's a second, Councilor McGrath.
No. I understand that. I just wanted to hear that there wasn't.
Yeah, sorry if I was maybe it was unclear. Without a second, that will die on the floor.
No, I get that after 30 years of service, but
I was just letting everybody know, Councilor McGrath. It's for everyone's information. Thanks.
So there's no second?
No. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So we'll move on. Next agenda item is my motion regarding portable signs regulations review. I'll now vacate the chair and ask Deputy Mayor Weigel to take over chairing the meeting for this item.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next item on the agenda is item number 9.2, which is Mayor Bowman's motion regarding portable sign regulations. Mayor Bowman, could you please read out your motion?
Thanks, Deputy Mayor Weigel. On behalf of administration, I move that administration be directed to review current rules and regulations in the land use bylaw regulating to portable signs, and that the review be inclusive of community engagement, including with portable sign business owners, and that any proposed recommendations related to portable signs be brought forward for council's consideration when such a review is complete.
Thank you. Can I get somebody to second that motion? Okay, Councillor Cardinal, thank you for seconding that. Mayor Bowman, do you want to speak to your motion?
Thanks. We passed a signed bylaw earlier this year. A lot of engagement went into it. I think we came back with a bylaw that was both something that was good for the community as well as good for business owners of all different different sizes, small business owners, big business owners. And the focus was a lot on the signage for third party. A lot of engagement, the people that came forward were focused on that third party and became predominant. What we've seen come back right away was a difference in window coverings. A lot of businesses came forward and were complaining about these changes we made didn't match for them. So we did amend the bylaw for that based on the amount of people we got coming forward and the reasoning for it, which I do appreciate that. One thing that seemed to be lacking is that the portable sign business owners, as well as the businesses using them, went to the engagements and they were really focused on the third party. So they didn't really feel that there was any major changes for them. Until it came out, then we heard from a lot of business owners as well as the sign owners that these rules that really affected their businesses, affected the business owners of the portable signs, but also negatively affected the small business that really couldn't afford expensive signage that they were using this, and not only the businesses, but also nonprofits and that sort of thing. So my thing here just was to bring it back so we could do a little more engagement and give these residents the chance to speak to their issues.
Awesome. Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Understanding we have members of the public who wish to speak to this item, we'll now move to delegates. We will begin with Kelly Hodgson. I'll ask that you come forward to the presenter's desk, please. Hodgson, sorry.
And Kelly did provide this and was wondering if we could hand it to council.
Sure, absolutely.
Can you just make sure, clarify with council there's no concern?
Okay. And just before Kelly starts, he does have a written piece that he'd like to hand out. So if there's any objections to being a handout, and I believe Jade can send it over Teams as well. Yes?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly, for presenting tonight. Please state your full name for the record, and just a reminder, you have 5 minutes to speak to that item. Following your submission, please remain seated for questions from council.
Okay, yeah, my name is Kelly Hodgson. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to address you regarding the new sign bylaws of Fort McMurray. I'm a longtime resident of Fort McMurray, over 25 years now. I work at one of the sites as a power engineer also for that same period of time. I like living here, and I'm a strong advocate for the union that I belong to and in supporting my fellow community members in kids sport. When I moved here in 1998, there were few services and the town was growing quickly. There's been a lot of changes to get to where we are at today. I've operated Signs R Us, a portable sign business, for 15 years that was started in 1985. In the fall of 2023, a presentation was made to the RMWB Council that showed a community street that was littered with portable signs that looked terrible. The presenters created a picture of signage that isn't true. It wasn't of this community, it was portrayed to be Fort McMurray. My signs are professionally done and they have high quality. This inaccurate story, in my belief, was used to support a change to the bylaws that attempted to completely eliminate portable signs from the community. This group was attempting to change the marketplace to favor digital sign companies by limiting portable signs to 180 days per year. This change would end portable signs because who can operate half of a year for a business and shut it down the other half? Imagine if Earl's had to shut down for 6 months and then they could start up again. Obviously, that's absurd. If this wasn't bad enough, Brett Williamson sent out a letter that I provided to everyone. My business was decimated in the days after as people became scared and wanted to cancel their signs immediately because a threat from an authority was the message that came through. The most cost-effective form of advertising is on-site advertising. Creating an unfair playing field for the Pattison Group doesn't help small business as they can't afford their services anyway. It just forces them to suffer. My signs are used for local on-site advertising, construction, wildfire notices, and a few events that happen throughout the town. Sometimes I don't even charge people or give free months because who doesn't need a break once in a while? It is more about looking after others at this point than myself. If you believe that these digital sign companies are from Fort McMurray, they are not. The community advertising dollars leave the community and don't come back. Shop local is the mandate of this council. This bylaw is contrary to that objective. You are the decision makers for this community. The primary question that you should be asking yourself every time you make a choice is, does this make Fort McMurray better? Restricting small business from advertising with their choice of advertising on their own land for 180 days per year doesn't make the community better. I humbly ask that this 180-day clause be removed and allow portable signs to advertise for small business and not-for-profit business services and products without undue interference. The end.
Thank you, Kelly. I appreciate all you do for the community. I know you give back lots and do lots, so thank you for all you do, and I appreciate your presentation. Is there any questions from council for the delegate? Mayor Bowman?
Thanks, Councilor Weigel. Thanks, Kelly, for the presentation. And what I'll say is if this passes, just when the engagements come out, show up, give your opinion, give your statistics you have. I've been listening to you. That's why we're here. And I want to make sure that everything we do is best for the community, as you said. And if that's changing the 180 days, and that's what we see in the engagements, then that's what we'll work towards. But just really encourage you to come to these engagements when we have them and get your point across. And I know the Chamber of Commerce has been very supportive as well, and has been advocating for a lot of things you've said. And with this notice, I think a lot of this was brought back. A lot of the concerns are the reason we had the window decals bylaw portion kind of fixed, and we'll work on this as well. So thanks for coming forward today, and I know it's been a long night, but thanks for sticking out and give us your opinion, and thanks for all you do with kids sport as well.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Councilor McGrath?
Thank you, through the chair. First of all, Kelly, you bet, I've been around a long time. Hope a lot of people appreciate that. And my question, Kelly, as we go forward with signs and stuff, you've been in the business, as you pointed out, almost near now 2 decades. Like the 8 or 9 billboards that somehow we incorporated one time, is there a reason why we don't get enough interest on an RFP that somebody could operate them and use them?
Do you mean the ones as you enter town?
Yeah. I think we have one at Marianne Lakes, and then the rest of them are between what I call Highway 69 and Mackenzie Park Boulevard.
I think those are rented by the RMWB too.
Yeah, we that's what I'm saying, Kel. I'm asking, a guy that knows the business. We actually own them, kind of in a different, unique situation. So, because we put them out to the market there a few times, and I just wondered now that we're talking about this. Do you see what stops a guy like you from bidding that work? Or be good to get some input.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah, I know, sir. I'm sorry. When the RFP comes out.
Councilor McGrath, sorry to cut you off here. Can you just speak a little bit louder? We just can't hear you.
Sure. I didn't want to talk too loud, but I'm asking Kelly, and through the chair, when the RFP comes out for those signs that we own, is there something we could do different to get some local bids that kind of manage those signs and make a living from them? Not make a living, but certainly, is there something that we could do different to get some interest?
A point of order has been called, Councilor McGrath, just to stay on topic of what he talked about. My apologies.
I thought he was talking about signs in 180 days. Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor McGrath. Councilor Banjoko?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Kelly, for coming forward and for sharing your thoughts on this important topic. So currently, the portable signs are out all year round or prior to this new direction?
The rental periods would vary depending on the client.
But you had the liberty to rent to whoever throughout the 12 months of the year.
If a client owned their own land, some of the signs have been there for some time.
Okay, and this is one of the things you do?
Yeah, portable sign rentals.
Okay. So this, in effect, would affect your income?
Absolutely. When this letter was sent out, it ruined my business, and Magnet Signs and Sign Guru are feeling the effects of it.
Okay. And definitely, like you pointed out, looks like it negates what we all preach in terms of local economy, shop local, and things like that. I just needed that clarification, and I hope you get the opportunity to bring forward those points during engagement. Thank you again.
Thank you, Councilor Banjoko. Any other questions for the delegate? I don't see any more. Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate it. Next, we have Next, we have Sean Robertson via Teams. Sean, if you could just state your name and you've got 5 minutes to present, and then just stay online to answer any questions, please.
Okay, excellent. You guys can hear me fine?
You're good.
Perfect. Okay, I appreciate it. My name is Sean Robertson, and I'm one of the owners of Sign Guru here in Fort McMurray. So good evening, Mayor and Council members. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak today with regards to portable signs, specifically the 180 days on, 180 days off regulation. I understand the need for a visually appealing community and ensure fairness. However, this bylaw does not achieve those goals. It overreaches into the operations of private business, dictating to entrepreneurs how and when they can advertise, and to that, to be blunt, is not good governance. Imagine for a moment we apply the same logic elsewhere. Imagine if you were told that a business can only operate for 6 months of the year and then had to shut the doors. Or you told consumers they can only shop at your store for 6 months, and then the other hand, of the other 6 months, they're legally required to find another operation. That just sounds crazy, doesn't it? Well, that's exactly what's happening here. This bylaw is impractical and harmful to the very people who keep our local economy strong. Portable signs, as Kelly said, are one of the most effective and affordable marketing tools available to local businesses. Unlike expensive digital campaigns or traditional media ads, portable signs provide businesses with a direct way to reach customers in their immediate area, whether it's a new restaurant trying to attract diners, mechanics offering seasonal services, or retail store promoting sales. Portable signs create local impressions that drive local commerce. These signs are not just about advertising. They help businesses survive, grow, and communicate to the community. The affordability of the portable signs make them accessible to all businesses, especially small business owners who don't have the budgets for large-scale marketing campaigns. In a community like ours, where small and medium-sized businesses are the backbone of our economy, restricting this valuable tool for half the year makes little sense. I also want to address the rationale behind this bylaw. It was stated that other major cities, such as Edmonton or Calgary or Lethbridge, have implemented similar restrictions, and therefore we should follow suit. But let's be clear, Fort McMurray is not Edmonton, Calgary, or Lethbridge. Our economic landscape is different. Our business community is different. Our needs are different. The economic factors and urban landscapes are different and not comparable to ours. We are just straight different. If we truly want a fair comparison, we should look at communities that share similar characteristics as Fort McMurray. Take Grand Prairie, for example, resource-driven town that is located basically parallel west of us. They have no permit requirements or time restrictions for portable signs. Businesses only need landowner approval and must follow basic setback regulations. Furthermore, the process for obtaining the permit for portable signs is cumbersome and inefficient. The online application requires a plot plan, a sign map, an owner's signature, a title, marketing material. Then after all that, the final decision rests on the planner for the approval or deny it on their timeline. It's just another way of bureaucratic process, which is unnecessary and it creates additional hurdles. Additionally, let's talk about fairness. Larger businesses with bigger budgets can afford alternate forms of advertising, billboards, digital campaigns, and social media. But smaller, locally owned businesses rely heavily on portable signs to stay visible. By enforcing this 180-day rule, we are disproportionately hurting the small businesses that need the exposure most. To put this in perspective, imagine we apply the same rule of forms of advertising. Imagine telling the Patterson Group that they can only print ads for 6 months on their big billboards, or the Harvard Group that they're only allowed to run radio ads for half the year. It's ridiculous. Advertising works because of consistency, and this bylaw is inconsistent for the marketplace. Now, here are a few things to consider as a solution. A more practical approach would be to implement simple and reasonable regulations that ensure safety and aesthetic standards without limiting the duration of sign placement. We can follow the already established setbacks within the bylaw and follow these simple steps. No arbitrary timelines. If the sign meets the setbacks and safety regulations, let the business operate freely. Okay, property-based capacity limits. Setbacks dictate the number of signs per property based on lot size or zoning. This ensures fairness without disrupting business continuity within the city. Permit system. So if we need a permit system, that's fine. If there must be a permit system, allow continuous operations throughout that periodic 365 and rather than then having no downfalls on downtime on that renewal process. Let the business flow, right? I don't have enough time to talk about third-party marketing and the hypocrisy of the bylaw letting digital, mobile, and print retail media get special treatment for third party while discriminating against, once again, portable signs, okay? But in closing here, please, I urge you to reconsider this bylaw and work towards a fair, sustainable solution, one that fosters growth rather than stifles it. Let the free market thrive without unnecessary government and interference. Instead of treating portable signs as a nuisance, let's recognize them for what they are, a vital tool that helps businesses survive, grow, communicate, and contributes to the economic well-being of our community. Thank you.
Nice timing. Thanks, Sean. I feel like you timed that out very well. Well spoken. I do appreciate all your feedback. I know you, both you and Kelly have been very studied in this and had a few conversations with you as well. And so I appreciate your feedback on this. You're very passionate and very informed. Is there any other questions from council? Mayor Bowman?
Thanks, Councilor Weigel. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate the passion and behind this. And just a couple questions. One, are you in support of this motion?
Support of the motion and to put it forward to relook at the bylaw and changing the restrictions of the time limit?
Yeah.
That is correct, 100%.
Perfect. And I want to make clear that are you going to show up at the engagements with this much passion that you came here today with?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilor McGrath, do you have a question? I think it might have been from before. Any other questions from council? On behalf of the other councilors, thank you, Sean. I appreciate your presentation.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Next up is Diana D'Souza. Please state your name and just stay online. Remember that you've got 5 minutes to present and just, stay online for questions afterwards. Thanks, Diana.
Hi, can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, so good evening, Mayor and Council. For the record, my name is Diana D'Souza and I'm the Executive Director of the Fort McMurray Chamber of Commerce. I am speaking today in strong support for the Mayor's motion, which is motion 9.2 to have a portable sign regulation review. As a voice of the business community, I believe that revisiting these regulations is essential to fostering a more business-friendly environment while maintaining the aesthetic standards of our region. Now, I'm not going to repeat everything. I think both Sean and Kelly kind of put a lot of details on the table, but I will say that I also did some comparison to other municipalities. And the reality is the city of Grand Prairie does not have any of the time limitations. It is exactly as he said, the setbacks, the locations. And the reality is that it's portable, it's not temporary. And I think we're confusing the two within the municipality. There are three constituents that are affected by this. The portable sign businesses that you are risking shutting down. So that's three businesses that support the economy, that's been here for a long time. these small businesses, our municipality isn't built for street front. It isn't built as a retail front end that allows every business to have that visibility of where they exist. We have these small businesses that are paying for rents in multi-business units or compounds where they're behind, where they depend on a cost-effective solution, which is these portable signs, to be able to use them to advertise, to draw traffic to their business, to keep their business viable. The third one is a large business, and I'm going to use the example of Summit. The current bylaw, as it was changed, currently, so on that big compound, the reason that a facility like that uses a portable sign is they don't want to have a fixed sign. They may want to move around their display, they may want to move it around. Currently, they need to get a permit for it. And if they want to move it by a meter, then they have to go get another permit. And it's just not viable, it's not sensible, it's not pro-business. So without getting into all of the details and repeating what was said, I also want to point out, and Mayor Bowman, and thank you for listening to me, to all of us, Mayor Bowman. But the reality is, last year summer, we did have an engagement with the planning and development and the municipality. Both Sean and Kelly were there. I was there. There were other businesses that are around the table, and we were very vociferous in expressing the challenges with the bylaw. So there was engagement and there was voices. I have had multiple engagements with planning and development, and you would speak to the fact that I've had multiple conversations with you, the former CEO, for us to actively try to change it. I would push back. I would go look at Grand Prairie, a very, how do you say, a pro-business environment. They're well known for creating and facilitating business growth and business thriving. And I think that's it in long and short. I can go on and say economic viability options for small business. We can deal with the aesthetics by using the current setbacks in the bylaw. I was really happy that we dealt with the window cling. I personally think this review is way, way late, and hopefully will land where it needs to be. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Diana. I really appreciate all you do and your advocacy for businesses out there. Any questions from council? Councilor Banjoko?
Thank you, the Deputy Mayor. So thank you, Diana, for your presentation. I heard that you, in fact, participated in the community engagement, the public engagement, and that didn't have any effect. Did I hear you correctly?
So through the chair, Council Banjoko, initially when they first took on the initiative to look at third-party signage, because prior to that, the bylaw just didn't allow it at all. There was good work done. And at that point in time, the window cling, the portable signage, they were missed. There was engagement, but I guess because the bylaw was so open before, we did not pick up on those. But subsequent to that bylaw coming out, there has been engagement. So there has been engagement. There's been active communication. I have certainly been advocating at a significant level with multiple layers within the municipality. It's a combination of Kelly and Sean and myself through the mayor's brought the motion. So yes, there has been engagement.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the clarification.
Thank you, Councilor Banjoko. Any other questions from council? Not seeing any. Thanks, Diana. I really appreciate it. Next up is Nathaniel Ouellette. I believe he is online. And Nathaniel, please state your name. And just remember, you've got 5 minutes to speak. And please stay online afterwards for any questions. You're good to go.
Councilmember, I just came back from Texas doing that fire training, and I lost my voice, so I hope you guys can hear me well. A lot of what I had prepared, Kelly and Sean both covered already. But so I'll take this time to actually speak to some of the engagement. Sean and myself, we took over Sign Guru during the engagement part that the city was doing with businesses And the first thing we did when we took over from the previous owners of Sign Guru is we sat down with two of the planners to engage, because there were some problems that the previous owners brought forward that were like, you know what, let's sit with the city. And so we actually engaged without the formal engagement that you guys were doing. And the planners actually told us that the city was looking at loosening all of the bylaws on signage. So we were like, you know what, perfect. This will give us time to learn the business. They're loosening the bylaws. We know what restrictions we have. And then, being told we're going to be loosening the bylaws. And then, when the bylaws rolled out, because like, you know what, they're loosening them. We don't have to worry about it too much. We'll work down the road as far as changing the bylaws later. But then all of a sudden we're hit with by the way, half of the year your clients can't work with you. But Stu, you own a restaurant. If the city passed a bylaw similar, it's just unfeasible. And then I'll just jump into a little bit of what I had prepared. Regarding some of my interactions, I'll leave the rest of my speech out, but when we engaged with some of the higher levels after this was rolled out, we were told that the city was actively trying to promote permanent signage. And when you have somebody that's really high level in your city, after you've done a lot for the city and you love the city, but to hear somebody say we're actively trying to encourage permanent signage, which means my city's actively trying to discourage my signage, it was just really disheartening as far as that's the feeling we got, which is why you see Sean's passion, Kelly's passion. Like we do a lot for our community. We provide an amazing product that markets the great businesses and the not-for-profits in our town at a price that you can't match. Nothing else really needs to be said other than, we'll be engaged. Moving forward, we really hope everybody gets on board with, let's not limit anybody. We don't want to limit the digital signs. We don't want to limit, the social media. We just don't want anybody to limit anything. 50% of small businesses don't last 5 years. And if you put on one little 6-month limitation, well, you can probably mark 3 sign companies that are going to go by the wayside relatively quick, because it's just too hard to maintain operations if you're having to resell your few clients that you already have every 6 months. I'll bow out.
Thank you, Nathaniel. I appreciate your passion, even though it's tough to speak and coming back. And so, but thank you for presenting, and I really appreciate that. Is there any questions from council or the mayor for Nathaniel? Any online? Jade? No questions. So thank you, Nathaniel. I really appreciate your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Not seeing any other delegates, we'll now move on to questions of council and debate. Not seeing any other questions. Mayor Bowman, do you have any closing comments before we close debate with voting? Sorry. No, that's not going to work either. This is fun. Here you go.
Thank you. Just closing, I just want to thank all the delegates for coming forward, and most of them I spoke to during this process and was one of the reasons, but it was also residents actually that were using the signs as well that were concerned, not just the business owners. So I just want to make it clear that this isn't something I want to see engagement done that just benefits business owners. It's just an engagement one done that we hear from residents as well, so we get what's best for the community, whether it be small businesses, big businesses, and the residents in general. Like I said, I heard from a lot of people about this, and as Nate said, as looking at the bylaw and hearing that things were being relaxed, a lot of things were relaxed in the bylaw, but so a lot of business owners may have thought that everything was relaxed and didn't think there'd be too many restrictions. So we're hoping that further engagement will bring out a bylaw that works best for the residents and best for our small business owners. And I also want to thank Diana for advocating for all the small businesses that were part of the chamber. I know Diana came to my office, met with me a few times, and I think I talked to Diana every day. But she was very passionate about this and looking at comparisons to other communities and really listening to the businesses that the chamber supports. So I want to thank all delegates for coming forward today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are there any other further questions from council or debate points? Councillor Dogar? Nope. Okay. With no further questions, I'll call for a vote. Oh, sorry. Oh, no, now we got some. Councillor Banjoko?
Thank you, Councillor Weigel. I just want to say thank you to Mayor Bowman for bringing this forward, and I think it's very timely. Without going to some details, I think we all need the signs. I love signs. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Carter?
Thanks there, Deputy Mayor Weigel. You're doing a great job tonight.
Thanks, buddy.
I just wanted to apologize to the guys that we caused a little stress on from our council, and hopefully that we can support the motion moving forward, and you know, not try to make sure that we work out the kinks in the organization. Like I said, I apologize for causing a little bit of stress on some of our residents in the area, and hopefully we try to make it better, and we try not to get into the same kerfuffle we just got into. So, thanks.
Thanks, Councillor Cardinal. Councillor
Dogart? Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and thank you, Mayor. I think there are twice consultation with the residents in the past, and still engagement is planned in the future. Such like things are has to be appreciated, that a lot of engagement with the citizens should be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dorgar. I also will be in favor of this. I think it's great that we're hearing from both the residents and the businesses. I do agree that it is tough to run a business only 6 months of the year. And so I thank you, Mayor Bowman, for bringing this forward for everybody, and I look forward to the consultations. If I see no other further questions, we'll call for a vote. Oh, by a show of hands. Sorry. So online, Councillor Ball, 4. Councillor McGrath, 4. Councillor Bussier, 4. Councillor Walkwin, 4. All those against? Oh, all those against? No. So one more for 4 in council. Hands raised for 4, please. All for it. Awesome. That's passed unanimously. Thank you so much. And I will now vacate the chair back to the mayor.
Stu messed up my whole desk. Moving on, item 9.3, vehicle for hire license renewal rates. I'd like to ask Councillor Banjoko to read out the motion. Thanks. Sorry, Funky.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I move that administration be directed to prepare a report for council's consideration, proposing an amendment to bylaw number 23/022, fees, rates, and charges, bylaw charges 2024 bylaw to revise Schedule J, Section 5, renewal of vehicle for hire licenses, from $500 to $150, effective November 26, 2024. Additionally, the administration be directed to explore options for reimbursing the difference in fees for any vehicle for hire license renewals processed between November 26, 2024 and April 1st, 2025.
We have a seconder for that?
You can second it first.
We need to get.
You have to second it first.
Well, I'll second it, but I want to ask if Councillor Banjoko would kindly let me do an amendment for this.
Yeah, once we get to that, you can.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'll
seconded by Councillor Cardinal. Thanks, Kendrick. Councillor Benjoka, like to speak to that item?
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. And Councillor Cardinal, you can bring on the suggestion after I speak, I guess. Yes. Okay, so on November 26, 2024, the council passed an amendment to Schedule J, Section 5, renewal of vehicle for hire licenses. So in the past, vehicle for hire licenses per annum was $500 to start for the first year and for subsequent years. But after several meetings with the committee, which actually the council that initiated and also on the committee, so we did a comparison of what is charged in Fort McMurray as compared with Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Medicine Hat, and we are substantially higher. So it was agreed that we will keep the $500 for the first year of a new driver, and I'm sure we are all aware that most of the drivers are either immigrants or new people from other countries that will need to demonstrate safety and cultural integration. But that subsequent years, they would pay $150. I was not at that meeting. That was I was away for the period. I tried to connect, but I was banned. I was kicked out of Teams. So I didn't know that we did not indicate the date that the change would be effective. So administration took April 1st, from my understanding after we looked into this, they took April 1st being the start of the fiscal year, because we did not indicate the effective date. So all I'm asking is that we had passed that motion. We should allow the motion to be effective the day that the motion was passed. And this is in line with our reduction of barriers, red tapes, and making unnecessary bureaucracy. I've also talked about most of these drivers are working class. They are not they don't have so much money. They are starters. And so it's harder for them, and it's part of barriers for economic integration, especially for new Canadians. And having looked at the comparison, my conclusion, or the conclusion of most of us on the committee, is that, in fact, the drivers had paid much higher than they should have in comparison with other cities. Grand Prairie is $105, whereas in Fort McMurray it's been $500. In Red Deer it's $104, whereas for us it's been $500. Medicine Hat, the highest you need to pay for any vehicle for hire license is $220, but for the most part it's $100. So that's why I decided that we need to look at this again. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Joko. Councilor Cardinal?
Okay, can I recommend a friendly amendment?
Yes.
You can ask for it, yeah.
Well, I'd like to recommend that we have an amendment to the motion for the vehicle hire license from $500 to $300. And please just emit additionally that administration be directed to explore the options for reimbursing any of the fees, because I just don't want to have any more work put into it, and just let it be the way it is, and our staff can just move on and we deal with the problem tonight. You're okay with that?
I would have been okay with that, but the motion has already been passed that the new rate is $150. So I'm not here to ask for that. That's done.
Okay.
We're only talking about the date on which it takes effect.
Okay.
Yes.
So my amendment would still be additionally that, take out the additionally that administration be directed to explore options for reimbursement. I figure we just start from today or the date of the 26th, 2024, and I'm okay with that. I will ask for that, a friendly amendment to where nobody gets reimbursed for the rest of their money.
Thank you, Councilor Candidate. Can I respond, Mayor Bowman? Thank you so much for your friendly amendment. I would suggest that we ask administration how much of work that will be before we conclude, just in case it's 5 people that have paid the old rate. I don't know if administration would have any comment about that, so that we don't assume on their behalf that it's going to be cumbersome. I'm sure they know this motion.
And we can go to that after we get through. I'll let the CFO see if she has those numbers.
Okay.
Through the chair to the question, there are approximately 88 applicants who have paid the $500 fee since November. This would be an extremely administrative process to do a refund. It would impact 3 different departments. It would start with a manual review of every file. A check requisition would have to be filled out for each person. That would then have to go through to the accounts receivable department for them to do a review to set up the adjustment. It would then go to accounts payable to be processed, and because these are all individuals, they wouldn't be in our system from an EFT perspective, so we would actually have to manually cut 88 checks. Our estimate is it would take a minimum of 2 to 3 weeks. I couldn't commit to it being done more than a month, and then you'd have to mail them all out. So it would be an extremely burdensome process.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Thank you, CFO. I appreciate the response.
So with that, do you want to take that amendment and take out the reimbursement, or do you want to leave your motion as it stands?
I was hoping to hear from other councillors, then I will
go back
in
to
case
it
there's any other comment from them.
So we'll go back to that, Councillor Cardinal. Councillor Dogar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have personal knowledge in this business, and many of my friends are here, and many are leaving the town or left it, and because they are hardly making any money. There are no jobs, even at Edmonton and Calgary. That's how people are sticking here with their families. So I feel like I appreciate Councillor Funky for bringing this motion of this class, which doesn't have a voice, and I also appreciate Chief Arul for recommending it, I suppose. And as far as the budget is concerned and the labor is concerned, always there is, you see, efforts required to do a thing. The best thing is to keep on sitting. So if few weeks are required, no problem. We are here for it. We should do something. And I'm from this class. I know people are extremely in a very, very bad state of mind. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Dogar. Councillor Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I'm not understanding the past. So we've already changed the rate and fees to 150. When were they originally supposed to become effective? November 26th.
Yes.
And so did we charge people $500 instead of 150? Why the reimbursement?
What was the question?
So maybe I can put some clarity. Councilor Majoka made the motion to change that, and administration, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understand it, she made the motion to change that higher for license fees from 500 to 150. when the motion was made, when we were discussing fees and rates, that was changed. In the policy, those fees and rates become effective April the 1st. But Councillor Majoko's intention of the motion was for those fees and rates to change on that day.
Oh, gotcha.
That's why it didn't happen.
Gotcha.
Essentially, there was no date
Attached to it.
on the motion that was passed. Therefore, administration defaulted to the fiscal. I believe the 1st of April will be the new fiscal year start, something like that.
That's when all the fees and rates new fees and rates become effective.
Yes. So now we just have to look at it and say, yes, we agree.
No, I appreciate that. Thanks. That makes more sense. I do appreciate you bringing this forward, and original motion, when you did bring it up forward, I do appreciate that. I would be in favor of this motion with the friendly amendment. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Weigel. Any other questions from council? Councillor Cardinal?
Are we getting back to the amendment?
We'll have delegates first.
Okay.
Okay, I am ready to make a comment about that.
And do we have any delegates to this item? Oh, sorry, Councillor Walkman had her hand up. Are you?
Yeah, no, I just have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Thanks. Are we amending, to pay back or reimburse the payment that has already been paid?
Okay.
Even though it was set for November?
So the motion is to reimburse the people that paid since November 26th, 2024. There's been discussion of councillors to change the rates now, but to not reimburse is what the kind of conversation is possibly going to. But that amendment hasn't been made, and Councillor Majoko would like to hear from the delegates and council before she decides if she would like to go with that friendly amendment or go with her motion that's on the floor.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks for clarifying.
Thanks, Councillor Walkwin. Do we have any delegates for this item? Renee Wells and is Penny here? No, just Renee Wells. So Renee, just for a reminder, just say your name for the record. And you have 5 minutes to present. Please remain on topic and remain seated after for questions, please.
Absolutely, and thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Renee Wells, resident of Fort McMurray. Penny Skinner, manager at Sun Taxi, was supposed to be here this evening, but she informed me that she is feeling under the weather and sends her regrets. We're both Fort McMurray residents and members of the RMWB's Vehicle for Hire Committee, and here to voice support for Councillor Banjoko's motion. So this matter was first raised at a meeting last fall with considerable discussion over a viable solution. I commend Council for taking the step late last year to reduce vehicle for hire license renewal fees from $500 to $150. I know that there was considerable discussion earlier regarding that $500 fee as compared to other municipalities. I can tell you from personal knowledge, having led the effort to bring in new legislation 12 years ago, that we are inundated with a number of people seeking to get in on the industry to the point where it became unsustainable. And so we set the bar high, looking to give people a pause for thought on whether or not they wanted to get involved in an industry, whether on a part-time or full-time basis. And so while that sounds high compared to other municipalities, there was good reason. And now there's been changes, of course, where the number of licenses actually issued each year are considerably down because of the economic situation in our municipality. But the $150 renewal fee for anybody going in afterwards sounded reasonable. That one was all about fairness in light of rising costs that everyone across our region faces, including those in the vehicle for hire profession. What may have been overlooked is the calendar year under which most people operate, as opposed to a fiscal year, which administration operates under. While elated about the change in license renewal fees, many vehicle for hire owners were surprised to hear that it wouldn't take place until April the 1st. owners of vehicles due for renewal following the passing of this amendment last year, we're surprised to hear that they must pay the same $500 fee that Council lowered last year. At the end of the day, extending these savings to owners renewing their licenses going back to November the 26th should not mean much to the overall fees that the administration collects. I'd add too that we did hear from administration talking, or you did hear from administration talking about the pain that it would take to issue what amounts to a rebate. But we're not hearing much about the pain that people are enduring in trying to make ends meet. A $350 rebate will mean a great deal to those engaged in this profession. It's all about fairness and empathy in a time when the cost of pretty much everything has gone up around us. I thank you very much for taking the time to hear my points, and would welcome any questions that you have.
Thanks, Renee. Do anyone have any questions for the delegate? I'm not seeing any, Renee. Thank you, and thanks for your presentation. Appreciate it. And, oh, sorry, you had a question now? Okay. Michael Ferrer? So, Michael, for clarity, just say your name for the record. You have 5 minutes to present, and please stay on topic, and please remain seated for questions after. Thanks, Mike.
Michael Ferreira, resident of Fort McMurray. I just got a couple questions. First question is, do we have any current council members involved in the vehicle for hire business?
I think if you ask those questions, we can address them to administration after your presentation, but I don't think there's any appetite to go around the council chambers to answer the question. But if you want to give whatever presentation you have, Mike, and then we can ask those questions. But thank you.
Fair enough. So I guess my comments here, I'm in support of this also, and very much more in support of the friendly amendment. I think that we think that, oh, well, it's a little bit of work for admin, but let's say it's $250 and 100 people, that's $25,000, and it's going to cost the RM another $50,000 or $75,000 to make it happen. If you start looking at time and salaries, if you put any value on any of that stuff. So, I mean, it is what it is, and it's, sometimes there's winners, sometimes there's losers, but I mean, we don't need to reinvent the wheel, I don't think. I mean, we've got a date. Everybody knows that's the date, and I mean, it's not even a month from now. 3 weeks from now, that happens. So, that's all.
Thanks, Michael. So just, you are in favor of the motion without the rebate? Perfect.
Correct.
Thanks. Does any other council have any questions for the presenter? I'm not seeing any, so thanks, Mike. Oh, sorry, Mike. Councillor Benjoko has a question. Go ahead, Councillor Benjoko.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. I thank you, Mike, for being here always. So,
angry old man.
I like the cost analysis that you did. There's no point spending $30,000 to give $11,000. But
like it's more than that, though, right? So if we're given $25,000, and so that's money we've taken in. We're rebating in that, so that's 25 gone.
Yeah, plus
and then it's another 50.
Yes.
Or 30 or whatever. I don't know what the number is, but 3 different departments. 2 to 3 weeks worth of time. I would say it's probably 3 times more.
Yeah. So
for something that's going to be, changed in 16 days, 18 days, whatever it is.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so thank you so much for putting that in perspective. So it's 16 days ahead. Well, will you consider it fair to have it effective date of today instead of 40 more businesses being affected, given the business climate that we are in the economic climate in Fort McMurray?
I would say you could make it effective today if that's not going to cause problems with, now you have a fiscal year end in 18 days or 16 or what, whatever the math is. Is that going to cause problems? And now we got to look at another number because now it's another fiscal year. So it's not going to cause any troubles that way. Yeah, if you don't want to charge people that number effective today, well, that's just that many less people that wouldn't be getting a rebate because they wouldn't have to pay up front.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Joko. Any other questions for presenter? I'm not seeing any. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
So right now, so I guess it's up to Councilor Benjoko if you would accept that amendment or if you want to leave the motion as it stands. Turn your mic on, Funky. Was that Kendrick?
The amendment will be then from November 26th, 2024. Instead of that, it would just change to today. So I move that administration be directed to prepare a report for council's consideration, proposing an amendment to bylaw number 23/022 fees, rates, and charges 2024 bylaw to revise Schedule J, Section 5, renewal of vehicle for hire licenses from $500 to $150 effective today, March 11, 2025. Would that be something?
Check with legal, because I just want to check with legal if this is, because the bylaws, rates, and changes will come back for second and third reading in a few weeks. That's when we'll actually pass the bylaws. So, Kaylin, if you can. So I'm just wondering if the way it reads now, so let me read this out again for Councilman Joko. She moves that the administration be directed to prepare a report for council's consideration proposing an amendment to bylaw number 23/022 fees, rates, and charges 2024 bylaw to revise Schedule J, Section 5, renewal of vehicle for hire licenses from $500 to $150 effective March 11, 2025. Just wonder if we pass that now, would it go by today's date or the date in 2 weeks when we pass the actual bylaw?
Through the chair to the mayor, to the chair, you will have the same problem when you pass the bylaw, in that it will only be in effect for 4 days, and you'll have to refund.
No, you don't want to refund.
From today until that date.
Oh,
okay. Because the new rate won't become effective until you actually pass the bylaw.
But could we save that by just letting people know to wait until April 1st?
Yes, you could do that. The problem is that you cannot change what's in a bylaw through a resolution.
Right.
You have to change it with a bylaw.
Right, so it comes back on the 24th is land use bylaw. So it goes back on 25th. So if we pass it the way I just read it, are we okay to pass it, if it passed like that, to just let people know when they come to renew, hey, if you wait until April 1st?
Yes, people could wait until.
Put a sticker on the window? I don't know.
Yeah, we could change it.
Save the trouble of taxpayers' money trying to refund things that we know is going to be changed, that we think is going to be changed if the bylaw passes?
Yes.
I'm confused now.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know. I'm just trying to.
I'm trying to understand now.
Because we can't actually change a bylaw until the bylaw comes second and third readings.
Thank you. So What I would propose as a friendly amendment then is what you said, but we will waive the time period if somebody has to renew between today's date and April 1st, so they're not forced to renew in those 2-week period, and they will then be postponed till April 1st if their renewal becomes between this date and April 1st.
Is that doable?
Is that doable, Caitlin and Lori? Is that?
Sorry, we were discussing the previous portion. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so the renewal, so if somebody had to renew between now and April 1st, we would postpone that renewal till April 1st, so they would have a grace period from now to April 1st if they had to renew, so they wouldn't be charged the $500 before it gets into effect at 150.
Through the chair to Councillor Weigel, the challenge with that is it would essentially be waiving the fee for the period of time until April 1st, and we don't have the discretion to waive fees under these bylaws.
But we can change that right here, right? That can't be part of this motion to change that?
You aren't able to change the impact of a bylaw through a resolution. You have to actually amend the bylaw. So giving administration the power to waive a fee in a bylaw has to be in that bylaw.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we really can't do this until March
Yeah.
25th.
So it's not doable then.
Okay, another question for legal.
Yeah.
Can we, what Councilor Banjoko's proposing, without the refund, it's just said, can we do that during our second, third reading of the rates and fees bylaw on the 25th? Oh, sorry, Caitlin.
No, that's okay. It's a different bylaw. So the bylaw that's being amended is the one that comes into effect on April 1st. The bylaw that you're proposing to amend is from last year, but the problem is our fiscal year is not aligned. So it's actually a different bylaw, but we could draft an amendment that could very easily, that could be put on the agenda for the next
My concern is
council
just
meeting.
then that's my concern, that we're right now debating something that we really can't do.
Okay.
And that the 25th during those second through, we could do it then, is that's my challenge there. I'm just, are we debating something we shouldn't even be debating because we really can't even do it?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Okay. So we are debating what we shouldn't be debating, and I don't want to debate what I shouldn't debate. So
yeah. So what this motion would essentially do, if that date changed to the 25th to that meeting, that would have administration bring back a report during that rates and bylaws, so we could pass it then, because that's what the motion states: prepare a report for council consideration, proposing an amendment. That's what this is saying, proposing it. So it's
not going to work because it's so close. I'll
just get Caitlin's legal advice.
So through the chair, actually Aaron has the bylaw right in front of him, and it's one of the rare bylaws that does have a section in 83 sub I that gives the chief taxi inspector the ability to waive or reduce a fee. So that actually is something that we could do, Councillor Weigel. So my apologies that my first answer was incorrect.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, there we go.
Thank you for that.
I'm glad I asked for your advice.
Yes.
Councillor Dogar?
Yes. So I just had a point that taxi advisory chief also came here, but he should be listened if you want to ask him. He had to go back. Arul, you want to say something?
He was just answering the question that Caitlin answered.
Okay, through the directorate. Okay, fine.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Can I call for point of privilege and take 5 minutes break to cool my?
Yeah, we can have a motion break, so we can revise the motion so it's what you want.
I need to maybe speak with lady.
Please. Okay, if you want to do that, we'll take 5 minutes. Thanks, Councilor Joko.
Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. Councilor Majoko, do you want to read your revised motion?
Yes, Mayor Bowman. Okay, thank you. I, Councillor Funke Banjoko, moves the motion that the Chief Tax Inspector be directed under Section 83I of the Vehicle for Hire bylaw to reduce the $500 renewal of vehicle for hire license fee to $150 effective immediately until the new fees, rates, and charges bylaw comes into effect on April 1st, 2025.
Thank you, Councilor Majoko. Can we have a second for that? Thanks, Councilor Weigel. Councilor Majoko, do you want to speak to that?
Thank you. I want to appreciate all the views and points that have been made tonight. And as we go to vote, I just want us to remember that if it's only one or two cab drivers that we can help through this motion, we would have done what we can do. We have realized that we can backdate or do a retro charging, but what's important is what we do going forward. So I appeal to my colleagues to think about it as helping one family, and let's give them the $350. For some, $350 is just lunch at Surekas. But for some, $350 is half of their rent. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councilor Majoko. And definitely thank you for the motion. I'll definitely be supporting this, and as we move forward, trying to make it easier for people to do business in this community.
Thank you.
Councilor Cardinal.
I just wanted to say thank you to Councillor Banjoko for accepting the friendly amendment, and I wanted to say thank you to the staff that put it together, and I'll be supporting your motion. Thank you.
Thanks, Councilor Cardinal. Okay. If there's no other questions, comments, or debate points from council, I'll call for a vote. In favor online? Councilor McGrath, Councilor Walkman, Councilor Boussier, thank you. And that's carried 8 in favor, 1 against. Thank you, everyone. Moving on to 9.4, Canada Day Lights and Beautification. I'll ask Councillor Dogar, who is not in the room. I'll have to get Councillor Dogar in here. Councillor Dogar, if you can read your motion.
Thank you very much for giving me a chance. I move that administration be directed to install light displays for Canada Day, and that the municipality encourage residents to beautify and use light displays for Canada Day to commemorate our country. Should I speak, sir?
No, we need a second for that first.
Anybody second? No one?
It should come up there. Thank you, Councilor Majoko, for the second. And Councilor Dogar, would like to speak to your motion? Turn your mic on.
Thank you. you know, I'm 20 years in this town, and I have seen people 40 years, 50 years. In 20 years, 9 of my grandkids born in this town. This is my hometown. I want it's more and more beautiful and get little fame also. Not little, but a maximum fame also. As you see in the start that I went to the backcountry and Canada Day board I displayed at different churches. Now I want to plead that on Canada Day there should also be beautification with the lights. You see those lights? So I visited about 200 houses in 10 days. Continuously I enjoyed so much, I kept on going. And the best was Tupper lights, and John Tupper's lights also. Then the Mustang Shutterland Garden, then Burns Place, then White Oak Garden, Peril Bay Pacific, Hill Crescent, Rainbow Violet. The best part I saw was at White Oak Garden, which is like a horseshoe community in a horseshoe. And they didn't lit their houses. So all the lights were done in the green patch. So collectively, that impressed me a lot that these about 40, 50 houses, they are so well linked up. They love so much each other that they collectively did something. So I really appreciate that. And in the process, you see, I'm advocating for Canada Day. Beautification is their recreation. Anything looks good brings recreation also. And I have seen on Christmas, even the tourists come here. From Edmonton, Calgary, people come and to see and meet the children. They enjoy the lights from one locality to other. Because I was moving in the entire town, and I have really seen that people enjoy it maximum. So, and whenever I encourage somebody, people offer me coffee also, thanks also. And you know, this also creates a nationalism also, or patriotism also. There's a lot of need for today that, you know, new Canadians taught and given an example. Canada Day, Happy Canada Day. Look at the lights, you see. And there is a negative point which would be coming, and I should reply beforehand that this is only limited hours because it is a summers and 10 o'clock the last light is there. But at the same time, I say I have been driving cabs still at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. People enjoy the bars. If people enjoy the bars also, and everywhere, they will also enjoy the lights. We must consider it. And it is not only the enjoyment, this is also enhancing the economic value also. Because all the good houses which are decorated well, it is decorated by the subcontractors or from the market. So circulation of money will also take place. And you know, with all this, I would say, you know, initiatives are taken once and they become history also. Let's see that Fort McMurray, this lighting, it is well done. And after that, Fort McMurray name goes up in the entire Canada under the leadership of Mayor Bowman and this council. This would be a great achievement. So let's try this time. And if it works, then later on we can do. It's not much of expenses also. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Councilor Dogar. Do we have any delegates to this item?
We have no delegates, thank you.
Thanks. Is there any questions and debate points from council? Councilor Benjoko?
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Thank you, Councilor Dogar. I appreciate all your efforts, and that's why I decided to second the motion to hear you, not because I support, because I didn't get, or I still don't get the point, but thank you. So the first thing I noticed is that most of the pictures that you showed are wintertime pictures, Christmas time, and the difference is that summertime is different from Christmas time in Canada. In the country where I was born, it's daylight for the most part of the year, but here it's dark during winter, and the lights beautify the streets and this and that. But during summer, if I remember correctly, the summer, I almost forgot summer now, but it's normally bright till about 10.
Summer, go outside, you'll see summer.
And then, so that's one concern I have. The second concern the second point that I want to make is that I believe there are fireworks and other things that are done on July 1st. Mayor Bowman, would that be correct?
Yes.
So I feel maybe we can do more lighting during the winter time, but I just thought that July 1st is bright most of the day. So those are my comments only, and I appreciate that you received that well.
Thank you, Councillor Bajoko.
Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. I have already given a reply to this question because I knew intelligent people like you would put up this question. There are limited light hours, but within limited hours, lightning takes place, fireworks take place, people enjoy that. Once people get dispersed from there, it is 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, I think, fireworks take place. They will enjoy and come to the streets, and wherever good lights are there, people will enjoy it. I have already told you that we have picked up the customers even at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock from the bars. So people once come out, they will see and enjoy it. The second point, what was the second point?
We already have fireworks.
Fireworks I have already told, sir, it is about at 10 o'clock, at 1 o'clock, and the entire town doesn't go there. So hundreds, thousands people go there, but there are about 60,000 people. And many people would like to see. And it is voluntarily. It is not, it is not compulsory. And voluntarily, once the municipality does it, few lights here and there and recommend it, probably there are people who are very fond of decorating their houses. I was astonished to see so much lightning and so much decorations. You said Christmas. Christmas is a happy moment. Yes, happy moments, even on the marriages, people put it on. On my son's marriage, I put on the lights. And even, every happy moment can be enjoyed with lightning. And, I was so much astonished at Mustang, beautiful lights. At Bun Place, beautiful lights. At Tupper, beautiful lights. And every day in that cold, 2 to 3 hours I was out, trust me. It was only enjoyment. And, once you interact with the people, people enjoy that. And the councilman is there.
Thanks, Councilor Dover.
Thank you.
And for myself, I'll get to the other councillors here, but I do appreciate the motion. I mean, right now in time in Canada, when everyone feels very patriotic and we stand by in Canada, so I think it comes at a good time. I myself light up my house on Halloween, Remembrance Day, Red Dress Day. When the Oilers win, my house is lit up. When the Old Barons play, my house is lit up. So in that way, I do agree with that part of the community. But as Councillor Benjoko mentioned, the sun sets in Fort McMurray in July after 11 p.m. and it rises before 4 a.m. So it's a very short window. You can actually see lights. I would be in support of this motion only if you amended it to take out the administration part there. So just a question for administration, community services, I think. What do we spend each year on Canada Day right now in the RMWB?
To the chair, currently in 2024, we budgeted $149,360 for Canada Day activities, and we've budgeted similarly in 2025.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Tony. So we are the community. I don't want to put any other expense on the taxpayer other than what we pay now. So I wouldn't support direct administration to install more lights, but I would support encouraging municipal residents to have their lights on, if that makes sense to you. just because I don't think we should be spending any more taxpayers' money, because we do a lot in the entire RMWB, from Conklin to Fort Chipewyan. There's a lot of money spent in the RMWB on Canada Day now. But I do agree we could encourage residents to turn the lights on, because my lights will be on. But I wouldn't put that on the taxpayer. That's my own expense.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. It is appropriate reply you have given me. And certain houses, certain corners could be decorated that for future, you know, of course the lights go off at 11 o'clock, but the visibility, lower visibility starts about after 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, lights can be enjoyed. But there are certain corners like Tupper lights, like Mustang, like Bun places I can identify to the administration. They should be encouraged in the form of letters, and let's, for the trial purpose, they should be encouraged to put on, because I think most of them, they have their stuff stored for the lights, and they should do it, or we should encourage them in one way or the other, without dollars. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councilor. So my question is, would you be acceptable to removing the first part of the motion to direct administration to install light displays?
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Yes, done, madam.
Thanks,
Sorry.
Thanks, Councilor Dogar. Councilor Cardinal?
Thanks, Mayor. Dogar, thanks for, I admire your patriotism. You've done things, a lot of things that I haven't done. I would like an example of a patriotic lighting system that we could administer here in our region. Give me an example. Besides putting up lights on people's houses, give me an example that where we could do it in Fort McMurray on the street.
Thank you. I will get, Mr. Mayor, you know, we may not do it all over. At least this building, Jubilee, you see, it should be decorated with lights. It will not take thousands of dollars. Symbolically, it could be there. And your house, of course, that is the, you know, number one building of the community. I know you are a rich man, and businessman, salary. So surely your house would be an example. Okay, anyhow, if you want to remove administration, sir, if you advise, that is an order for us. And probably this building should be there, symbolically.
Thanks, Councilor Dogar. Mr. Cardinal?
I love the idea. I love that Councilor Dogar, you know, has a great following of people, and admire your resilience to always try to bring something to the table, especially for the situation that we're in now with, you know, the tariffs in Canada. I think that our country is coming together a lot now more than ever. But I want to, how can we make something like this work? But I just think, I know that Dogar, Fort McMurray and Fort Chipewyan, they don't really get dark.
Fort Chipewyan doesn't.
It don't really get dark at this time of the year, especially on Canada Day. We do spend a significant amount of funds to make sure that our patriotism in our region is signified. I really like your motion, but I won't support it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just a reply. Do you read, you say there's no dark. Do you read books or anything at night there without lighting? Yes or no? You don't use light at night there?
No, no, I don't.
Visibility goes down here even everywhere. You see, I'm a trucker. I have been driving truck many times. You know, at 11, I used to be near Boyle. The dark takes place. And even before that, the visibility starts going down. You see, after 7 p.m., 8 p.m. The moment the sun goes down, the visibility gets low.
Okay, like I said, I won't support the motion, but if you can come back with another motion to put a flag,
Mayor has advised that
a big flag somewhere, or a plane to pull a flag, I don't know, something, I'll might support it, but I don't think that, well, I think we do enough, especially the fireworks at 11 o'clock at night. That signifies the gathering of our people in this region to celebrate Canada Day. And that's 50,
So
60.
that is one event. If you do 2, 3, 4, there's nothing wrong in it without expenses, as advised by Mayor. You know, just only one this building and his house.
I'll help you get it started. We don't need to have this office do it. I'll come down with you.
Fine.
Councillor Benjoko.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. Thank you again, Councillor Odoga. I just feel definitely there's need for us to all demonstrate patriotism towards our country. If there will be, if it's possible to do something else other than light, will you be open to, or it's not possible to do something and ensure that as a municipality, maybe we all wear red and maple t-shirt on for the council meeting around that time, or sing the national anthem or something, not even waiting till July, if something, because I think there's a whole, everyone is loving their country, especially with all the trouble coming from the south of the border. So that will be, I think that would be a good one, but I don't know if it will fit into this.
Thanks, Councillor Bajoko. That's some good points. And I think we're kind of going around to different things, as Councillor Cardinal mentioned as well.
Okay.
Sticking to the motion that's on there, it refers to lights as the main thing here. So Councillor Dogar, like I said, are you amenable to removing the administration directed to install light displays and just leave the second part? Or you want to let the motion stand as it is? Do you want to turn your mic on? Oh, that's one sec, Funky. Sorry, Councillor Dogar. Are you okay removing the first part and leaving the second part?
Okay, I agree with you, sir. Should I repeat my motion now?
Sure.
No, I have a comment.
Oh, go ahead, Councillor Bajoko.
Thank you, Mayor Bowman. So before you read the new motion, I'm trying to understand, would this be for homeowners to decorate?
Just for the municipality, encourage residents to beautify and use lights.
For us to put out information or press release saying please decorate.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Because we can't make them decorate.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Fine.
Thank you.
So I move the motion that the municipality encourage residents to beautify and use light displays for Canada Day to commemorate our country.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Dogar. And since it's a friendly amendment, we won't need another second. So with that, before we vote, do you have something else, Councillor Cardinal?
No, I like the motion.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll call for a vote. Online, in favor? Councillor McGrath, Councillor Poussier? No.
New.
And opposed?
No. Opposition has gone.
And Councillor Walkman's opposed. And that's carried 9-1. Thanks, everyone. And that concludes today's meeting. Thanks, everyone, for sticking around.
Thank you, everybody.
Marcy Cho, Kim Compton. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.